but certainly not least, we have Mr. Tin Can Cup himself. Every time I see him, he looks like a little robot with those earmuffs on. They're proper headphones. Mr. Mark Wright on the podcast.
Yes, hello everyone. Yes, Ray and Godzippo, thanks for bringing that out. I had no sound on the stream. I set up all new overlays, and like a numpty, I forgot to put the sound on. So yeah, happy New Year. I know. I knew there'd be something I'd forget. So yeah, happy New Year to everyone. I'm Mark Annex on everything. I was gonna steal Kim's catchphrase, but I can't remember the words of it now because I was too busy trying to fix this stream. So yeah, hello.
Hello. And thank you to Rain God Zippo for saving the podcast.
Yeah.
It would have really sucked if we'd gone the entire podcast without audio.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's cheers and cheers to him. Mark, you'll be sending him a large sum of money through PayPal upon closure of the podcast.
Yeah, I think I've still got Robin's account details. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I've done the banking today. No, it's not good.
Never is in January, is it? January's bad.
Judith was out teaching today, and I went on the banking while she was out and paid the credit card bills for Christmas and bits and pieces. And I was just gliding a little note of, that's what's in that account, that's what's in that account. And the overall view is skint. So yes, we had a good Christmas, but we have to sort of calm it down a wee bit now. Calm it down.
Calming everything down. Okay, so here's the deal. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you've got options on how you can listen to this podcast. You can watch us live, which is super easy. It's every Saturday, usually at 3 p.m. on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 11 p.m. in the UK. But because today we feel like we are going to be quite verbose and this podcast is going to go a little bit longer than normal, we elected to be kind to our UK friends and start it a little bit early. So we are starting it about an hour earlier than normal. But we are pretty much on every Saturday. I realized I don't think we took a Saturday off this year.
No, I think we've done really well this year.
Yeah. So we have been giving you a podcast every week, whether you wanted it or not. Now, you can also download the podcast from audio, either iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you can find. I don't think there's a Zune player anymore, so sadly.
But we're on TuneIn, so if you've got Alexa, like Robin,
well, there you go.
Yeah, you can get us on TuneIn as well now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Robin doesn't have the speakers coming on right now because I would be talking to Alexa, turn off the lights. Alexa, turn on the TV.
Alexa, business time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Business time.
The things I tell you.
Oh my God! I listened to the Veteran Gamers at work yesterday, the Christmas one. What you appeared on, Robin? Okay. I was in stitches in the van. I nearly crashed the van when you mentioned about going to Amsterdam. Oh my God! That is one of the funniest things I have ever heard.
What was that bit? Because there was lots.
He says,
what was it?
You said on the stag do. He said, "Will there be people of flavour?"
People of flavor, yes, Robin. Yes, that was a moment. That was a moment.
Yeah.
I didn't want to repeat it, but you asked.
Oh dear. Ah well, the things you say.
Speaking of flavor, here is how this podcast is going down today. We are doing our annual Game of the Year recap, so to speak. Although this year, thanks to the brainchild known as El Jefe Robin Tat, we are going to do a review of the past year in gaming. Sorry, my bad. Potato. So we're going to go through each month, talk about big gaming moments, notable news, notable games that got released. Now, mind you, this is what we could source and find and what we considered notable. Quite frankly, there may be games we miss. If we missed one of your favorite games, well, tough. And we're also going to, sprinkle in a little bit of our own Overseas Connection crew adventures, so to speak. Just some of the stuff that happened in our lives that was noteworthy, memorable, or unforgettable, or forgettable. Take your pick. And so that's going to how this is going to go. It's going to go down. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be seamless. Everybody's going to be happy. There's going to be no discussion of anger or disrespectfulness. This is going to be a very polite situation, I think.
Surprise,
What?
motherfucker.
What? Would you just rewind the last 5 minutes of this show and play it back? Disrespect. Oh,
Now,
God.
What we will do is, as games come up that are in our own personal top 5 lists or top 4 lists, whatever we have, we can talk about them at that point in time. And then at the very end of the show, we're gonna kind of recap all of our games, and we'll go through and just kind of re-mention our list. So this way, the way we look at it is we all have different games that we like the most or we enjoyed more than others. Some may not even be per se from this year. They might have been something that you got into this year. But what we want to do is really give the listeners and those of you at home an opportunity to hear about some games that maybe you missed that might be worthwhile checking out. And there's going to be some obvious ones in here as well. I should say, I think, we're going to cover some of the big ones for sure. All right. With that said, let's get this thing rolling. Mark, do we have any kind of jingle for this moment?
For what moment? Oh, God, no. Now you've put me on the spot. I've spent all day doing overlays.
Right there is the moment.
Hang
what
on.
moment? Let's.
Here we go.
Dropping now. Stand by for Titanfall.
Perfect.
Disappointed!
All right.
There you go.
Let's start us off. Let's walk through January, if you would be so kind.
All right, here we are with the month of January. We have notable game releases, and those are Resident Evil Biohazard, Yakuza 0,
Let's
Hitman.
Stop. Do we go
Yes?
through them all first, or do we stop people when we want to talk about a game?
That
I
would be
think we'll do in wee chunks at a time. So do the releases,
Right.
and then we'll talk about
All right,
that,
okay,
and then
sorry.
the highlights.
Sorry.
And then we'll do, we
We
did
should
that
have
one, yeah?
discussed this before we went live, but yeah, sorry, carry on,
Yeah,
Kim.
should have. Yeah. Should edit that bit out.
Due
Yeah,
to
very-
unforeseen issues, Mark, and not having it set up properly,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Right.
It's all Mark's fault. Anyway, as I was saying, Resident Evil Biohazard, Yakuza 0, and Hitman, the complete first season. Season 2 is announced.
I don't think any of us played any of these, or did you play Resident Evil, Mark?
I
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get the video.
I hear
up.
it was a really good game, but it scares scary games scare me.
Now,
I suppose that's what they're supposed to do.
yeah, this could have been higher. Well, this could have been in my top 5 if I'd have played more of it. I've only played the first part of it, but yeah, it's really good. It's really atmospheric. Graphically, it looks gorgeous. It's really spooky. A lot of jump out, scary moments. A real good. Not that I've played many Resident Evils, but like people say, the last one was terrible. So this is a good return to the franchise, apparently. This is in my honourable mentions. In my Robin, Greg has got his best bits. Robin's got his big bits. I've got my tiny bits. So I've mentioned it in my tiny bits as an honourable mention.
Yeah, and I hear. I mean, this year they also done a really, really good VR version of this as well, which is probably the first and best AAA VR game. So, will I play it? I don't know. Too scary.
Well, I've actually borrowed the disc off my nephew, so that's how I've got it. That's what, unfortunately, Greg won't better play it, but yeah,
That's
it's really
okay.
good.
It's okay. I don't do scary games that well. I really don't. So
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
There's quite a few good puzzle elements as well. Some of them quite taxing. For some, like 3D projection images, you have to rotate things to get to match to open a door. And they're quite good, quite clever.
I have heard that Resident Evil, and I believe it's Resident Evil Biohazard in Japan, but I think it's Resident Evil 7 here.
Yeah, well, it's still called Biohazard. Yeah, but it's Resident Evil 7 here. But it is
right.
It has got the colon Biohazard thing. So
got it. Well, I've heard VR is the way to play this game. It's like the only full-fledged game that's really pulled off VR really well up until this point. There's that. And Hitman, to talk about Hitman real quickly, that was on my top games last year. So they released the complete season, this year, and it is a fantastic game. if you liked the Hitman series, if you liked any of the previous Hitman games, this was a real return to form. And I'm actually kind of curious to go back and dabble in it some more because they've given it a nice upgrade on the X. So they did the full HDR 4K texture.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've downloaded at Christmas time there. They had I think the first episode was free, but there was a special, like a Christmas, you're like a Santa hat on. I don't know what it is, but I've downloaded it. The first, so it's a full episode. I would be very interested in picking this up because I did enjoy the last one. I think it was a bit of an experiment the way they released it. Episode by episode. I don't think they'll do that again. I mean, Giant Bomb gave it their Game of the Year last year. I enjoyed the last one. I will play this at some time, and it will get as cheap as chips. So, Yakuza. People rave about Yakuza. I don't think there's any Japanesey people really here that are into that.
No.
So it's not us. I would say maybe Fraser. I mean, he knows how to make that noise really well. Yeah. So maybe Yakuza would be his thing. He'd be doing that if he was here right now, and if he wasn't wiping people's bums, he'd be doing that. So anyway, those are the notable game releases for January. What else happened then, Kim?
Alrighty. Our news highlights are Masaya Nakamura, the founder of Namco, died at the age of 91. And of course, Namco, Pac-Man, Microsoft cancels Scalebound. Global production of the Wii U has officially ended with 13.56 million.
Yeah. So, this is, actually 3 big news stories. I mean, the founder of Namco dying. One, he died at 91. It lived a full life, for one thing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing there. But part of the people that brought us Pac-Man, and I don't know if he was the guy that actually made Pac-Man or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as Wikipedia is concerned, he was responsible for Pac-Man. And I wonder what ghost he is, which one of the ghosts he is now. But yeah, so he had his hand on a lot of stuff, but Pac-Man is down to him. So wow. So
the industry would not be. I don't think the industry would be what it is today without Pac-Man. Pac-Man really put us on a course of, I'll say stardom. Yeah. Because it became mainstream with Pac-Man.
Up until Pac-Man was a big thing at what got me into games. Yeah, I think I was about 6. I had a little handheld one as well. I was a huge Pac-Man fan. Yeah, loved it.
Well, old fart that I am. I remember that the Space Invaders, the original arcade machine, before that was crappy stuff like Boot Hill and stuff. So that was, Space Invaders with that big bass stuff. But it was left, right, Space Invaders, da-da-da. But Pac-Man was the first sort of action game. It was an action character moving.
You weren't just restricted to left and right, were you?
Left and right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Because, Space Invaders, Galaxians, Space Firebird, Phoenix, all of those were all, you were at the bottom of the screen.
I need to make a confession.
Uh-oh.
I hated Pac-Man.
What?
Greg, nice knowing you. See you later.
I never liked playing Pac-Man, mostly because I sucked at Pac-Man, but I did not get on with Pac-Man. I liked the shooty wasn't I liked Galaga. I liked Defender. Could not.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Pac-Man just wasn't it wasn't my jam.
I played it lots. I preferred Mrs. Pac-Man.
Fuck Miss Pac-Man. Literally.
You know what? I was, a bullet hell shooter guy. I can name them all, and I loved them all. Flayed, even some of the obscure ones like Flayeds that was out at that time, and Phoenix and Gorf, G-O-R-F, Gorf. All that stuff. I loved it. So rest in peace, Masaya Nakamura. Hey!
Yep. So here's a question, an honest answer around the room. Who here was really looking forward to Scalebound? Kim was?
I know Kim was, yeah.
It was the headphones and this friggin' annoying dude that sort of switched me off for it. It didn't look lovely. It looked, dragons and a guy fighting.
Yeah, the dragons looked awesome.
The protagonist just looked like a dick.
Yeah,
He
I
looked
would
like
have
a dick.
preferred a different protagonist, or even
Yeah.
to pick between a girl or a boy, that sort of thing. But
You would have preferred a different dick. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
So
I suppose.
I think the important thing, though, is this was a kind of a black mark for, well, it wasn't just kind of, it was a pretty big black mark for Microsoft to start
Yeah.
the year off. One of their flagship AAA games is canceled. This on the heels of Fable Legends having been canceled just the prior quarter. And, this really set the tone for this theme throughout the coming year of Microsoft not having the big AAA exclusives this year. Now, I think that's a debatable thing, and we don't have to debate it now. We talked about it in depth a lot, but there was a stigma, and there still is a stigma about Microsoft underperforming with the AAA titles.
Yeah, but I think that's absolutely right, because there was some, Horizon Zero Dawn and the other big Japanesey thing that came out. Was it not Yakuza? Was it Yakuza? Was the other big one?
Yakuza Zero.
That,
Yakuza Zero.
Yakuza
There was
Zero.
Nier Automata. Nier Automata.
Yeah, but even that was Nier Automata. That's niche market stuff, where Horizon Zero Dawn was everybody. Even Yakuza is niche. I know it's big, but it's still niche stuff. So there was a bit of fake news about it as well. I think PlayStation Sony definitely won it with some of those big titles in the press, but they really shot themselves in the foot as far as PR was concerned, coming out of the gate after you said exactly with Fable Legends, and then with this here. It just set up the year for no matter what they did. It just don't have good games.
Well,
yeah,
at this point. Yeah, I mean, at this point, and this is foreshadowing, unfortunately, but at this point, Microsoft still had, they had Halo Wars 2 coming out, they had Forza 7 coming out, they had Crackdown 3 coming out, they had Cuphead, they had also ReCore, were all kind of their core games coming forward, and so there still was, I think, a bit of, well, they still have other stuff coming, so, okay, this sucks, and this was a big hit, but they can probably survive the rest of the year on their, and they did survive. Okay. But let's move forward. We'll talk more. The Wii U is dead. This surprises nobody. So, good riddance as far as I'm concerned. Robin, you probably should talk real quickly about this.
Yeah, just quickly. ULOG was started towards the end of 2016, but it really found its legs in January of 2017. ULOG was a year of living dangerously, with almost 50 people signing up. I was signing up people. It was like a full-time job for about a month, signing people up all the way through January and into early February. It was supported fantastically. It was about finishing your games, picking 30 games. Thank you again for that. So that was a fantastic thing that lasted all year throughout 2017 with us. So that was January.
That was January. Mark, February.
Yeah. So sound effect wise, to separate the mums in honor of the Pac-Man guy. So February, the notable game releases were For Honor, the Ubisoft fighting game, ended up being the 8th best-selling game of 2017, which quite surprised me really, because I've not known that many people pick it up. Another big title was Halo Wars 2, which was also nominated for Best Strategy Game category at the Game Awards 2017, but lost to Ubisoft's Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is a XCOM ripoff and sacrilege, according to Greg. Sniper Elite release, I presume this is number 4.
Yes.
Yep.
That is number 4.
And the best game of this year, in my opinion, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is only the 10th best-selling game of 2017, but it is a exclusive, so it's good to be in the top 10 with an exclusive. But yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's surprising. Sorry, Greg.
Well, I don't know if it's surprising in that it didn't do higher, or to me, quite honestly, for the entire year. Single player, single platform games typically and I say typically, are not going to, rank top 10 for an entire year of sales. So
No.
the fact that it is there at the end of 2017 at the 10th spot, even if it's the 10th spot, that's a really good showing for Guerrilla
Yeah.
Games. And hats off to them because they went such a complete different direction with that game compared to where they were.
Yeah, they've known more for the Killzone, the first-person futuristic shooters, so to branch out and do this, and what I found with it, not only was the gameplay mechanics brilliant, the graphics were beautiful, the actual story was superb, the voice acting was phenomenal. I believe, was it this one where the actress won an award for the voiceover on it as well, who played Aloy? But yeah, the story was intriguing. It kept you on the edge. It kept changing it and giving you twists, and I really, really enjoyed it. Do you want me to cover the news?
I will have to play it.
Yeah. Well, I've got it on disc, so I can lend you it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be really good. For Honor, niche market. It's supposed to be one of the best hack and slashes, the hack and slash game that you wanted as a kid.
Yeah, it's got a
that
specific
was
following,
surprising.
hasn't it? Yeah.
But it was 8th best-selling game of the year.
Which surprises me,
and
considering when it came out, and everybody was just, it was terrible, yada yada yada, and look at it now.
Well, actually,
So-
I think For Honor though because remember it had the beta, and the beta straight up won people over. And I'm trying to turn my phone down right now because I wanted to pull up the Twitch chat, and of course I'm getting all this media commercials. But anyway, For Honor though, the beta was pretty amazing, and people were excited for what the game was going to be. So I think this game really rocketed out of the gates, and then kind of fell flat for a little bit because they had issues with the code, and people were kind of disappointed with some of the way the game was going in terms of a single player. But then I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that there was a mid-year resurgence for Honor, and it came back around. They had a lot of sales on it too, so it was out there for a discounted price. So yeah, but still
Greg,
surprising to see it top 10.
And Greg, you have Halo Wars 2. Halo Wars is you're like your strategy games with XCOM.
Yeah.
You played this. Did you enjoy it as much as 1, or was it just more of the same?
I didn't enjoy it as much as 1 because it was a bit more of the same. I liked 1 because it was unique. We hadn't had a good RTS. Halo War 2's was still a good RTS on console. I think I just wanted it to go further and do some different things, and it just didn't get there. And it didn't get there at launch. I know later on they added some more elements to it. And this is one of the things that, a lot of games have been doing this late, right? They're like a games of service. They're adding in new modes, new elements as the game progresses. But I think for Halo Wars 2, it was a title that needed that stuff there from the get-go. It couldn't really, I think, survive on having post-launch release content constantly updating, because I just don't think it. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I don't think it had as big a following as the first one did. So I don't know. It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's not a great game. It's not making one of my top lists, but it's not a bad game.
I think Halo Wars, the first one, was a fantastic game. Wasn't overly well received. Didn't sell that well at the beginning. But I think I'd love to see the sales figures, because I think it had an extremely long tail. I mean, I think Mike Chin was playing it with his buddies year before last, playing multiplayer to death on it because it was fantastic. In fact, I think I only played it not last year, the year before, and went through it. So, or maybe it was at the beginning of last year. So, yeah, maybe. But I don't think Halo Wars 2 has that same, going to have the same tail. It doesn't have the same mystique. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Did I say XCOM 2, not Halo Wars 2? When I did the
No.
But I will say, Halo Wars 2 introduced one of the best villain characters, Atriox.
Yeah.
In the Halo, lore, Atriox is a fantastic character to see, and I hope they do more with him as things progress. So All right, continue on, Mark. What happened news-wise?
So, news-wise, Peter Moore steps down as head of EA Sports, and he becomes the CEO of Liverpool Football Club. So he's gone from virtual sports to real sports. So I don't know how
And
he's
he's still
done.
there.
I don't know. I don't really follow football in the UK. I just usually follow the national sides. But yeah, he's he loves his
looked him
football.
up a bit.
So,
I looked him up. He's still there. He's making changes. He's still there. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
So fair play to Peter Moore. He was good.
right.
So at EA. So, there you go.
ZeniMax Media was awarded $500 million from Oculus VR over intellectual property and contract issues over the virtual reality technology used in the Rift. If you remember this, apparently one of the guys who worked there, did he sort of like take some of the design plans and used them in the Rift? So yeah, that wasn't
Awesome.
yeah. And we had a special moment happen in February on our crew adventures. Robin and Nicole met up in sunny Scotland. We went to Edinburgh and they had a bite to eat and just managed to stay out of trouble. But yeah, they met each other. I was supposed to go, but sadly February wasn't a good month. We had a bereavement in the family, so I couldn't go, but I was planning on going. But yeah, I was at Robin.
It was a brilliant day. It was fantastic. I flew in from Belfast for lunch. So it was to the airport, Uber into town. We met up. We walked over to the restaurant. We had our lunch there. She was with her friend. It was lovely to meet her. There was a big, massive rugby match on that day, and the city was full of rugby players. And there was some Scottish girl, and her boyfriend came in, and she almost started a fight with us. She was ready to get stuck in. She's probably half cut, half tore, drunk, and she was given the evil eye and fuck you, and it was fuck you. The headbutts were near going, but we survived. So literally, we had lunch. It was lovely to see her. We had lots of hugs. She kissed me. She told me she loved me. She said I was one of the most beautiful men she'd ever met. She loved my accent. She loved everything about me. And then Uber, and then back to the airport and back home. And she carried on regardless. She sanitized herself. She washed her mouth out and carried on with her holiday. But it was great to take the opportunity. It was a spur of the moment thing. God, she's in Edinburgh. She's so close. I'll zip over, and I'm really, really glad that I did it. So, yeah, there you are. That was February. March.
Mark, are we going to play a sound effect?
Right, what have we got?
You could play the Pac-Man sound effect in between each month.
No, I'm
This
going
way
to
it just breaks it
No,
up.
I'm going to pick a different one for each month. Let's see. Let's have a bit. Who likes Borderlands? We all like Borderlands, don't we?
That's Mushy Snuggle Bites Badonka-Donk. She's my main squeeze. Lady's got a gut full of dynamite and a booty like, ow.
Tiny Tina.
God,
March, as mad as a March hare. And I'll talk you through some March. In March, games that came out, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, the 6th best-selling game of 2017. We had Nier Automata. It came out. Oh, hold on a second. I just had to do a wee thing here. Just set up a timer. And we also had Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, the 5th best-selling game of the year. And it was a sleeper, won that. Mass Effect Andromeda came out as well. We'll talk about that in a second. And PUBG releases on Steam, early access on the PC.
Right. So interesting. Looking at the landscape of these games. One, we were just talking about Horizon Zero Dawn making 10th and being feeling good about that. We have Legend of Zelda coming in 6th best-selling title of 2017.
Another
that
exclusive.
should not only be, not only is great news for Nintendo, but also a bit of foreshadowing for the Nintendo Switch, the platform that it was coming out on. It came out on the Wii U as well, but let's face it, everybody was buying it on the Switch. Nier Automata, Automata, that game got a ton of critical acclaim. I feel like really late in the year, it didn't have the big support early on. I didn't feel like I felt like this game got looked over a lot, and then suddenly everybody remembered it in the Game of the Year conversations for a lot of the magazines and professional podcasts. And this game really kind of came back around, as did Ghost Recon Wildlands, the fifth best-selling game. That also got a lot of love. A game that got almost no love, Mass Effect Andromeda.
What?
Yeah.
I love that game.
I'm sorry, I'm stopping you.
I know,
Stopping
right?
you right now. Mass Effect Andromeda. It came out on St. Patrick's Day. How can I not love this game? It came out on March the 17th. Now, sadly, the fourth game in the series, it was released. It was the most anticipated game for 2017. It was voted at E3 and lots of shows the most anticipated game. We couldn't wait to get it, and unfortunately, BioWare handed it off to Montreal, not Edmonton, and Montreal did a fine job on it, but it looked like it was rushed at the very end. And when it came out, the worst problem, apart from some mission issues, was the facial animations. It was uncanny valley to an extreme. You know, the eyes. One eye was pointing to the ceiling, one eye was pointing to the floor. I mean, foreshadowing this is in my top 5.
Yep.
I love this game.
Yeah.
I spent lots and lots of time. You could play as Scott or Sarah Ryder. I played as Sarah because Sarah, she wakes up after 634 years in this ship. So she left before Mass Effect 3.
Yeah,
It's
just
kinda
after
weird.
Mass Effect
They
2.
felt-
Yeah.
Yeah, so they went to sleep while that was all going on, and her dad dies, and her dad was the Pathfinder, the person that was going to find these new planets, and she has to take on this role. Her voice acting.
Your game was different than mine, because mine was all about him and he, and I don't know the she business at all.
Yeah, I played the guy.
Well,
Scott.
say it again.
I played a girl, so carry on.
Yeah, I mean Frida Wolf, who played Sarah Ryder, not Scott. She was a fantastic voice actress, and she was nominated for lots of awards.
Right.
But really, I think it was unfairly treated, because the problems with it were quite minor. Yes, some structural stuff about the missions or side missions.
Okay. I'm gonna take issue there. They weren't minor, Robin. They were pretty big problems. This game launched with.
It was a loading screen. It launched with bad eyes.
They were not just bad eyes. They were like super ridiculously bad eyes. I mean, I've seen bad animations on games, and I think the problem was that this is a flagship studio and title for EA. So for it to launch with that in it was pretty inexcusable.
Absolutely correct. But they patched it pretty quickly, and then it became a really, really good game. But at that stage, it just remembered all of that. Everybody remembered that badness, and it never recovered from that. It
didn't recover to the point that they scuttled Mass Effect basically for the foreseeable future.
I've got to defend Robin on this.
Sorry, one thing, Mark, before you defend me. It was so bad, Greg, that there was a female employee there who had death threats.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, because she was responsible for some of the facial drawing. It wasn't her fault at all. But yes, it seemed to be rushed at the end. They should have given it even another month, 2 months, and it probably would have been up there for well up in the Game of the Year stuff. So I loved it. Sorry, Mark, defend me.
Right, so Mass Effect Andromeda. Before the patch and after the patch, the gameplay was the same. It was superb. Yeah, they may have fixed a few goofy eyes. They may have added a little skip scene so you didn't have to watch a planet rotate while you're landing. Right, so zoom forward to later on this year. PUBG. That's not right good looking. Gameplay is pretty good. Well, gameplay is excellent, but it crashes a lot. Are people slagging this off and giving death threats? No. So what's the difference?
Well, okay, so counterpoint. So one, PUBG is $30, not $60. PUBG also was early access, so they were selling it as it was not a final release game. And also PUBG was from a developer, a no-name developer that didn't have any real history of making quality games. So,
But were these issues with Mass Effect Andromeda that bad? Because I didn't really notice much. Before and after the patch,
the eyes were pretty horrible.
They
They
were
were
kind
pretty
of scary, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but so what?
It didn't affect me.
And
seriously.
and there were and beyond the eyes, there were a lot of game-breaking bugs that for a final product, were crashing it to dashboard. Were
It was
I
wrong.
didn't have that.
It
Yeah.
was wrong. It shouldn't have been released as it was. And it spoiled it.
I still loved the game. I still loved the story. I loved the characters. I loved the way it was produced. The different open wilderness of it. I really enjoyed it. It's in my top 5 anyway.
PB, I love you, baby. I love you, PB. I love you, Cora. I love you, Vectra. I love you, Suvi. Especially Suvi. I love you long time. These were great characters.
Real quick, because I know we have to keep moving, but this made my bits of disappointment, and it's because of how it launched that it was mentioned in my disappointments. It's a decent game. It's a good game now because of the patches, work they've done, but I couldn't overlook the fumble. And quite honestly, this was a first real big black eye for EA that was foreshadowing for the rest of the year. All right, let's move on, Mark. Robin.
Robin,
wait,
hang on.
My
Kim.
bad.
Wait.
So
Yeah.
PUBG.
Kim,
PUBG.
Wait,
No,
wait.
hold
No,
Sorry,
whoa.
Sorry.
Hang on.
Of course.
Yeah, I just want to say this about Mass Effect.
Yes.
Everybody knows I hated the other Mass Effect games, but when Andromeda come out, I enjoyed this game, even with the glitches and the googly eyes.
Yeah.
Although I laughed.
And
So,
Nicole was the
that's
same.
my 2 cents.
Yeah. So for Kim and Nicole to say this is a good game, that is an achievement because they hated Mass Effect. Case closed.
And
move on.
this is why it was a disappointment, because they actually liked the game. Therefore, it disappoints.
Okay. So anyway, Mass Effect.
Carry on.
If you're shallow and worry about soft aesthetic details, yeah. Okay. But then again, contradicting, PUBG was the beginning of the end of Fraser Moore's life.
Yeah.
So PUBG
Yes.
released Steam Early Access on PC. He bought it on PC. A few hours later, he got a refund for PUBG because he thought it was terrible, was crap, wouldn't run on his PC.
Yeah, it was more the running
to-
issues of
yeah.
compatibility, yeah. But it was
Yeah.
it
According to
snowballed.
Fraser, it was broken shit.
Yeah. But
Yes.
this snowballed thanks to Twitch and YouTube. The main streamers were given early access codes to this, and they were streaming it regular, daily. One streamer I know of, TSM Viz Games, he played it every day, and he was racking up. He's got a counter of how many kills he got in the year, and it was over 1,300 in the 365 days. So yeah,
Excellent. And we will be revisiting PUBG once again. So in the news, of course, we foreshadowed it before. The Nintendo Switch released worldwide in March, and back in November, December, we all thought it was going to be a bit of a damp squib. It definitely hasn't been a damp squib. It's been a great device. And even sitting at my sales meeting yesterday, one of the guys were talking about this great new game console that he got. He was playing this Super Odyssey game. And it was brilliant. So it's got legs, and it's now a viable third console. And as you said last week, maybe it'll be the second best-selling console at some stage. Don't know about that. Final bit of news for March was that Square Enix, in a very sort of nice and strange move, pulled away from IO Interactive, who were the guys that were responsible for Hitman. Which was even stranger was that they kept the IP, the IO Interactive kept the Hitman IP and are continuing to develop that. Which is,
you know what?
I've never really heard of that before. You know, that's
Actually, you have, Robin. You have. You know where you've heard it before?
Halo.
Well, almost. Bungie withdrawing from Microsoft, but they let Bungie go independent, but they still let Bungie make Hitman games. Now, granted, they kept the Hitman IP as opposed to Square Enix. But yeah, I was excited about this just because IO Interactive wasn't killed off. because Hitman was a good game, and I didn't want to see them get scuttled, which was the big fear early on when of course Square Enix pulled one of their famous "this isn't living up to expectations." They seem to do that with all the Western titles. It's not selling the way we thought it was going to sell, and then lo and behold, it sold millions of units and everything's fine.
Cool. And that about wraps up March.
Yes. So April, Mark.
Greg.
Me? It's got your name on it.
I know, but you're
Sound
supposed to play
effect.
sound effect.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. I'm lining up. Hang on. Here we go. Here we
We'll
go.
get this right next year.
Yes. Very nice. All right, so notable releases in April. We had Lego City Undercover come out for the PS4 and the Xbox One. This was, I believe, the original game that came out on the Wii U.
Yeah.
We had Persona 5 come out, which got a lot of praise. Again,
That's the one I meant. Yeah.
Yep. Ukulele, which was the successor to Banjo-Kazooie, the developers that originally made Banjo-Kazooie, they came out with their game. And What Remains of Edith Finch released. And then a title called Arrow released as well. So those were all the notable releases. I honestly played none of these games. Even Arrow, I dabbled with, but I have not really touched any of these games. So I don't have a stake in any of these other than they came out.
Right. Well, I'll do the first one. Lego City Undercover is a fantastic game. I did have it for the Wii U. It is like GTA with Lego. I know recently Stu from Veteran Gamers has been playing it and has been raving about it. It is really, really good. It is a massive world. So just imagine GTA 5 with Lego. That's what it is. And it's great now that it's got it onto these platforms. It's well worth playing. So yeah. Persona 5 is the other big Japanese game that went really well. And of course, Final Fantasy, which we'll get to a bit later on, is another one of those big games on the Sony that we didn't have. Ukulele, I played this morning. And damn, that camera's broke. Yes, it is. It is Banjo-Kazooie with the zoomy camera in and out and all over the place. It is very pretty. I played the first sort of level of it. It is it's a lovely little platformer in Banjo style, and it was a small development house. Some of the development guys from Banjo-Kazooie, I believe, they came over to it, and it is as close to copyright breach as you could possibly get. So
Right.
instead of Banjo and Kazooie, it's Yuka and Lily, and everything is similar. What Remains of Edith Finch? I am so tempted to pick this up.
Me
In
too.
fact, I should have, because it was £1.60 or something on the sale there. Probably missed it. And
Yeah,
I don't think it's a game.
They are bringing it to the Xbox One. I think the Xbox One and the Xbox One X in the coming month is going to be getting 4K HDR treatment, that kind of thing. So I'm tempted as well. I don't know.
I mean, there's this, and there's like some Dear Esther and all of those styles, and Gone Home. I think they're all a similar sort of thing, more of an experience than a game.
Yeah.
But
Don't
Mark-
remind me of Gone Home.
No. Talk about Arrow. Mark, mention Arrow. We love Arrow.
Yeah, you guys didn't add this. I added this in because it wasn't on the main list. But Arrow released on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. This is like an evolvement of rhythm action games, which involves following a line to matching the beat, and also shooting various enemies. We played this. Yeah, we played this at EGX, and I know his son Josh loved it, and I fell in love with it. And I actually put in a Kickstarter backing for the PC version, and then I got it on Xbox as well. It is superb. The soundtrack is awesome. I actually got. It's a funny story of this. I got an email this morning from Paul, the main developer, the creative director.
All right. Okay.
And he offered all Kickstarter backers a free ship skin because the DLC launches. It's out on PC now, and it's coming to Xbox soon. There's a new DLC music pack, and you can buy new ship skins, and I got a free one. So, yeah, so it's getting extra tracks and stuff.
Sort of my history with this game is, as well as EGX, but at EGX the year before, Mark, And at Raised that year, I had met these guys, and it was just there was like one level that we're showing, or one bit of a level at the very beginning. Bass Cannon is this fantastic track. Maybe you can get a bit of it. It is awesome, absolutely awesome. This game is addictive. It is the soundtrack in it is fabulous. It's well worth your support. Really, really nice guys. Nice to talk to, very open on the stands, and we like to support a small developer. And great now that it's on Xbox, PC. I don't know if it's on PlayStation or not, but if you can get a chance to play Aero,
it's on all of them.
2 A's, it's AAERO. Get it. Turn your speakers up as loud as you can, and enjoy that bass.
Yeah, like I said, some of the tracks are awesome. There's a good one from I forgot her name now, Katie Summit. She's a bit.
Harry?
No. She's like a Lily Allen type thing.
Right.
That's an awesome track. So yeah, it's really, really good.
Right.
This is bit of Bass Cannon. You guys can't hear this, but the listeners can hear this. But yeah. Highly recommend this. Brilliant game. I think I've talked too much about this now. We need to move on.
Yes. Moving on.
Crew Adventures. What's this about, Robin? Robin grew a beard. I can't remember this.
We're not there yet, so let's just dial it back.
Sorry,
Mark. Yeah. Reel it back in. There was an interview with Frank O'Connor from the news highlights. They were talking about the Halo franchise, and 343 confirmed that Master Chief will be the focus moving forward for Halo 6. I think to the joy of most of the Halo fans. Me excluded, because I actually liked them getting away from Master Chief as the main character. I think there is so much story to be told in Halo that it doesn't have to be focused on him. But
Master Chief's backstory is so rich. Let's think about B.A. Blazkowicz. If they do that with him, if you read any of the books or listen to any of the books, his history is fantastic. And.
Yeah,
everybody thinks he's like 34 or 40 years old. He's like 8. He's just a kid or 12 years old. It's fantastic. Anyway,
but so 343 also apologized for Halo 5 story and marketing. Look, I'm going to go out on a thing here. I don't think they need to apologize for anything. I thought Halo 5 was just fine. The game was quite good. The story may not have been to everybody's cup of tea, but the actual game that shipped was a really good game,
and the multiplayer, wow,
the multiplayer is fantastic. And so from my perspective, I think Halo is going in a good direction. I still say it doesn't have to be all about Master Chief, but if they are going to make it about Master Chief, I love Robin's thought of doing the BJ Blazkowicz backstory. I think that could be fantastic. So. Let's hope for that. Anybody else want to comment on Halo before we move on?
No.
Moving on. This is the Crew Adventures comment here. I don't remember this. Mark doesn't remember this. Kim, do you remember this? Because I think this is a bunch of bullshit. Robin, apparently.
This was April. Let me give you a photograph in April.
I'm going to find one of the videos.
I do not remember grow a beard. And maybe I'm just angry because I can't grow a beard to save my life.
I can't either, which is probably a good thing.
It's definitely good.
Thanks to the power of streaming, all our videos are all archived. So, how many months ago was it?
Goatee, little
yeah. Oh,
I remember that. That, Robin, is not a beard. That is dirt on your face.
No, that was trimmed. No, that was trimmed, and because I didn't want it to. I wanted it to be the hunky designer stubble type thing. It was past that point, and I liked it. The ginge was coming out. No, what can you do?
I think I remember this now.
Yeah.
Now that you're mentioning that, I do recall that. Yep. I would just like to point out, if anybody wants to talk about growing a beard, I think actually Mark has started growing a beard since the podcast started, and it's already going in.
I don't shave, smooth shave.
Can we pause just a second?
Trim it off.
I'm just getting text messages from Judith over in the main house to say, "Are you okay?" Text messages, WhatsApps. Seems to be shots being fired, or must be fireworks or something outside. Are you okay? No, I've been shot. I'm dead. Well, I'm dead. Been shot. Okay, flip me. Okay, Judah, thank you. Yes, I grew a beard.
All right, Robin grew a beard. I completely blocked that out apparently. But yeah.
It only lasted for about a month and a half, 2 months. So there you go.
Okay.
That's how
Fair enough.
slow. We didn't do much in April.
No. It was. There are months where there were crew adventures. But let's fire up the next sound effect, like that, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm you here.
Yeah.
Dragons!
Excellent.
Nice. Alrighty, we're in May. So our notable game releases for May are Friday the 13th, the game. Anyone?
Friday the 13th. Okay. I know none of us played this.
Right, no,
and
I never
people
played
raved
it.
about this game.
No. One thing about this game is I loved watching it on Twitch. This was a great game to watch someone else play on Twitch. And I never took the plunge to buy it, but I watched it for quite a while.
So, go ahead. Finish your thought, Mark.
And I was just going to say, one particular person who really, really enjoyed it was Game Over Greggy from the old IGNs, who now does Kind of Funny. He loves this game. He played a lot of it. It like PUBG, it had a lot of jank at the start of it. It had a lot of issues, but that added to it, and the developers made fun of that with the outfits, what some of them wore on that. Because you played as camp counselors, and one person randomly became Jason and had to go around. He had some special powers where you can sort of like teleport, and when you teleported, the counselors got like a VHS wavy effect on the screen, so they knew they was in trouble. And some of the death animations were really gruesome, so yeah, it's cool.
So Friday the 13th, the game, it's an interesting one because I look at PUBG. And then I look at another game that had a very similar premise to this in Evolve, where it was 4 versus 1. Friday the 13th, I think, came out and had a lot of hype behind it because it kind of came out of nowhere. People had heard about the game, but they didn't really know much about it. And then it launched, and it had a lot of promise. The problem for Friday the 13th, the game, unlike PUBG, the gameplay itself, when it was broken, it really broke the game. And I hate to say it that way because I mean it's like duh, it broke the game. But PUBG, even with its brokenness, people were getting past that. Friday the 13th, people couldn't get past the brokenness, and so while this game released with a lot of hype at first, it quickly fell off because the game and the developer just couldn't get the game fixed. And to this day, my understanding is the game isn't all that fixed. It still has a lot of issues. And so kind of unfortunate in a lot of ways because it rose to meteoric levels and people were really excited for it. And then it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, they are.
And I keep seeing it on sale, but I've just got that many games now, and like it's PUBG's taking over any spare time, but it's PUBG anyway.
Right.
So yeah, that's
You
why I've
guys
not
and your
bought it.
PUBG.
But yeah, oh, you need to get it, Kim. It's so good.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon enough about PUBG.
Alrighty. We have no news highlights for May, but we do have a career adventure. Our own Rich passed his driving test, and now pedestrians across the UK fear for their lives. Stay off the sidewalks. You know.
Congratulations, Rich. Good lad.
Yes.
It's been a big year for our Richard, but passing the
It
driving
has.
test, getting engaged. Getting engaged, selling his own code and his own little side business. You know, it's been a really good year for him. So, fair play to you, passing the driving test. What took you so long?
Exactly. He never had a need, I guess. That's all I can come up with.
And what is he? 17?
Something like that, yes.
He looks like he's looked like he's been 17 for the past 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, when you first started this podcast all them years ago, he's not aged at all, is he? Everyone else has got
not at all.
really old. And
The only time I can tell when Rich. Yeah, you've aged.
I'm Benjamin Bungle.
The only time I can tell when Rich is getting older is when he's trying to grow his mustache.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun.
Anyway, all right. Mark, you are up next for June. What kind of sound effect are we going to get for June?
So,
Okay.
June, notable game releases, a few more than last month. We have got one of the best games ever made, which is Elite Dangerous. This released on the PS4 finally. It's already out on Xbox One and obviously PC. It finally came to PS4. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, another PS4 exclusive release, which is a rehash of all the old games on one collection. Greg's favourite pastime activity, the Golf Club 2, released. With quite a few improvements from the last one, but I don't think it sold as many as what they were hoping. It didn't get the attention it deserves, I don't think, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Another game what I don't really know, I can't recall this, is called ARMS. These ARMS? No?
Nintendo Switch ARMS.
Right, okay, yeah, that's what I've not heard of it.
Yes.
And then the classic fighting series Tekken released their number 7 in the series. So, let's discuss the games.
Well, great that PS4 can get Elite Dangerous. It's fantastic that they can handle it. But it's a great game, and
it's super game, yeah.
You just need to switch off everything. It's a PUBG game because it sucked you in.
It's
with
it's a time thing, yeah.
Funny. That's a really good point. The fun we had with your HOTAS.
Yeah.
Your thrust,
my
your
Thrustmaster.
Thrustmaster.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I
That went on for several podcasts.
Yeah. Okay, from Christmas last year, I think for about 2 or 3 months I played this non-stop solid. And
Mark?
Yeah.
Mark, do you still play with your HOTAS?
Yeah. I keep playing Elite now and again. Yeah. I
It's
keep
a
playing
joke
with
that
my
never
stick.
stops.
Keep playing with my stick. Yeah, it's down there, just waiting for me. Yeah. It's got a twist on it and everything. Yeah.
Was I the only one that was not at all excited? And this was, I think, kind of part of a lot of re-releases that I just was not excited for. But Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, I know some people out there were excited for it. I mean, I just don't get on with platformers, typically speaking. So to me, I was kind of like, I played it back on the PS2. I didn't really have an affinity for playing an old game like this again. Although, to their credit, they did make some good improvements for the reboot or remake, I should say, not a reboot.
I think they were good, and a lot of people enjoyed them. But there was a bit of rose-tinted glasses here.
Yeah.
The year before, they had Nuts and Bolts, Ratchet and Clank, and that was a fabulous game on the PS4, and it was a step on. And had lots of the pixels in it and lots of the P's, and it looked absolutely beautiful. And this was upgraded, and yes, it was a very good value package because it wasn't a full price game, and there was 4 or 5 games or whatever was in that whole 4 or 5 games in that trilogy of 3. Anyway, yeah, bongoism. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot.
I just
and
played
the golf club.
I was going to say, on Crash Bandicoot, I just played the first one on PS1, and I liked it, but I couldn't get used to the running forwards to the screen, which freaked me out.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick this up. So.
Yeah, by the way, the running forward towards the screen is also known as bad game design.
Yeah. And you could actually play that level inside Uncharted 4. So.
Yep. Kim, did you ever play the Crash Bandicoot games?
I did, and I was excited when this came out because there was talk it might come to the Xbox One, but then I got Cuphead and Super Lucky's Tale, and I'm now realizing how bad at platformers I really am as compared to what I used to be. So now I'm just like, you know what? I'll just remember the fond memories I have from way back when, because, yeah.
Speaking of fond memories, the Golf Club 2. I was all about this game. I was super excited for it because I loved the first Golf Club. The community got behind the game. We had a lot of fun.
It went on for months, did the challenges, but this has fizzled out, hasn't it?
This fizzled out pretty quick. I think within a month's time frame, we were pretty much all moving on. And it's not a fault of the game because the game actually was better. It was better designed. It had better courses. It had better player stuff. But I think we got our fill of golf the year before, and even though this was an upgrade, it was still the same game.
Too many games.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah.
I don't really think we need to say much about ARMS or Tekken. Arms, punchy game on the Wii. It's Switch. Tekken,
Yeah.
fighty game. Ha 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 ha. Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing to say about that. Let's move on.
That's me.
That's
innit?
you, Mark.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Fuck, I know.
This is why we don't let Mark host people. This is why we don't let Mark host.
Oh, we haven't. No, we haven't done the news highlights. have we?
Exactly.
Oh, right, bloody hell.
We're just waiting on you, Mark. Just waiting on you.
I'm 3 steps ahead. I'm lining videos up ready for next month. Right, sorry, yeah. E3 in LA. This was a month E3 happens, and we got quite a few new games announced. Ni no Kuni 2 was announced. Anthem, which looks a really cool RPG. A bit of a Mass Effect Andromeda style, I thought. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and a co-op, completely throw out the game. If that's a word. A Way Out, which is from the Tale of Two Brothers. Is that the word of it? The developer for that?
Yep.
Yeah. And Beyond Good and Evil 2, which had an awesome trailer, but we're worried about the gameplay because Dead Island had a superb trailer, and that didn't turn out like it was supposed to.
All right, so I'm going to give you real quickly a quick recap of these games with my responses to them, okay? So, Ni no Kuni 2, I don't care. Anthem, oh my god, gimme now. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, you fucking rip-off artists.
XCOM thief.
A Way Out is not... It's a way out the door. I'm not interested in this game at all. And
Really?
Beyond Good and Evil 2, fucking monkeys.
Okay. All right. So right, Ni no Kuni 2, Chris MJW from Boss Wave. Yeah, he'll spunk all over the screen over this one. He'll just love that to death. Anthem, wow. But again, it was CGI, but it just looked fucking fabulous. That's the only way you can describe it. When you got into that big suit, you walked through sort of a village, you jumped off a cliff in your Iron Man suit, you
By the way,
flew
Robin,
into a junk. Yeah,
that was played. That was not CGI.
yeah. So they say. It's really seriously. So they say. I don't believe that. So
It is EA.
They flew into a jungle. They flew into water. They came up into the water. There was like a public event notification came up. It just looks like it has a lot of potential. Not going to get too excited because it's so early in it, and I would prefer, and I love, hopefully what Phil Spencer's talking about doing is a bit like Bethesda. It's coming out in 3 months, coming out in 4 months. Don't announce things too early. So
Right.
looking really forward to Anthem. Way Out really looked interesting. I loved A Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. I thought it was fantastic. And this is like an interesting co-op game where you're trying to get out of prison with your buddy. I think the downfall of it was couch co-op only and not online.
Right.
That was
Yep.
the thing that was the issue with it because you have no mates and you couldn't play that. And Beyond Good and Evil 2, that was probably the most awesome bit of
Yes.
filmography. It was up to Halo Wars standards and better. It looked like a movie, and they were pat themselves on the back on the stage, and it's so wonderful. And it's been 300 years since the first game, but hopefully within 300 years we'll get this one out, and it'll have 2 triangles in it, and they'll shoot each other, and that'll be the game. It'll be nothing like that one at all. But some of the characters in that trailer look brilliant, and I love Beyond Good and Evil. So I hope something good comes of it, and it isn't 10 years down the line, and it has nothing to do with that monkey.
Sorry, I was reading ahead.
Oh yeah.
Mark.
Okay, so we'll sort of
Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
Carry on, Mark.
Finish out.
Yeah, right. So, Crew Adventures. I better scroll back to where I was because I'm looking ahead like Greg was. Golf club community starts back up. But Greg says real golf is still better. So yeah, Real Defo headed up the community club, what we had, and set up challenges for us for a few weeks, and then he moved on. So yeah, it died.
You know what? Real quickly, I think this would have survived better had not Gary decided to deck out the golf club community clubhouse
in
in Broncos colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting.
What a scumbag!
Yeah.
I know.
Ah, well.
Just gross.
Cheers. I mean, at least his team was the first to go out this year, you know.
Yes.
So that's all right.
And we had
Anyway,
a bit of an incident in this month. Right before the podcast, our very own Robin Bongo Vasane was attacked by a very large cock. Wasn't he, Robin?
yes.
Some of us should be
Blood
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And this
Yeah,
was not
I was attacked.
this was not the EGX story, by the way.
No.
No, that came later. Yeah, my cock was very angry with me and attacked me and took a vein out of my leg and I ended up in hospital. Thankfully, my sister-in-laws were nurses and they happened to be in the. Sorry, we're talking about chickens here, by the way. I had broody hens and I was trying to get them in at night and the cock was trying to protect his hens and he went straight for me and ripped my leg to shreds. And I ended up going to hospital and getting a tetanus in my ass. It was shocking how much blood there was, but I admit, looking back, it's quite funny.
Oh,
So-
absolutely.
Hilarious.
Now, Robin, did you knock the cock over?
No, so there seemed to be a queue of who wanted to kill the cock. So
We just
my
go-
neighbor who my neighbor who has a really big gun, he came down and dispatched my cock. So he grabbed my cock by its neck and really, really wound
Did he
it
twist
up
the head?
until to the point.
Did he
Yeah,
twist the head of
until
your
it-
cock?
Popped
until
up.
it popped. Until it popped.
Did he go purple?
Seemingly as he was there popping my cock, my father-in-law and brother-in-law arrived in a queue because they wanted to attack my cock as well. But my
This
cock
is-
had already done everything
This-
that it possibly could, and it had passed on.
This has gotten a little disturbing now. I was
Kim,
unsettled
Kim,
with
you're
the
right, Kim.
neighbor
We have
wanting
lost. We have
Yeah.
lost Kim.
Kim, Kim,
I
you
know.
okay, Kim?
Yeah, dear. I'll tell you what. When it happened, it was serious enough. When it happened, I just felt this dampness on my leg when this thing attacked me. And I looked down, there was just blood. Oh, it was terrible. Anyway, that was June. Cocks and all. In July, the only real game that came out in July.
Hold on,
set
Robin.
the timer.
Robin, hold on.
Oh.
Mark.
Oh, I wish I had a cockerel.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
In honor of Robin, let's have this. Potato. Right, let's move on.
Oh, okay. Right, thank you. Are you okay, Kim, darling? You all right there? You okay? Would you like to see where my cock was
No.
attacked here?
No, there will be none of that on video.
Oh, you've just killed her off now. That's it. She's gone. She's gone.
Oh, I love it. In July, speaking of cocks, the only real game that came out was Splatoon 2. Now, Splatoon 2 looked like it was a fantastic game. I would love to play this. It looks like fun. I must pick it up sometime when it gets cheap, but it probably won't because Nintendo games hold their price. We've moved on. We're in July now, Mark.
I had to search for that.
And Splatoon 2, colourful shooter for kids. Again, the niggly thing is that the multiplayer stuff, you don't know who you're playing with. The chat thing seems to be a bit pants, but the game itself looks like it's
Hold on. Seems to be a bit pants. No, the chat on the Switch. If you're gonna criticize it for one thing, it is their absolute fumble of how to handle voice chat on a portable device.
Right?
There is absolutely no reason why they could not have figured this out. I am still baffled how poorly executed on the multiplayer elements of the Switch.
Have you been in Japan? Have you seen how they don't talk to each other on the train? Why would they want to talk to each other over a game? Can you imagine the multiplayer chat in Japan for Splatoon. Can you imagine how that would go? So after 3, Kim, you do a ho. Greg, you do a ho. And Mark, you do a ho. And I'll do a ho. So after 3, 1, 2, 3. Can you imagine what that would be like?
Aside from the very racist segment we just had.
I apologize, Japanese people.
But no, really. I mean, think about it. I mean, to get voice chat on the Nintendo Switch, you had to plug in a dongle to plug a headset into the dongle to plug it into the stupid. It was the most ridiculous setup in the world.
What did you have to plug in?
A dongle. A dongle. You had to plug in a dongle.
The dongle ate my baby. Anyway.
All right.
Okay. So Splatoon 2. In the news, Casey Hudson, he returns to BioWare as GM. Now, Casey Hudson was in BioWare before, and he came back as general manager. Now, he was responsible for the original Mass Effect, for KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic. So his credentials were really, really good, and hopefully then we can get a bit more focus on the BioWare brand. Did you know that BioWare was a medical equipment company when it first started out? That's what they made medical testing machines and stuff like that. That's where the BioWare name comes from. Medical stuff. So there you are. Funny. Okay. July was a fantastic big year for me. I had a fantastic year in 2017, and one of the highlights was getting away from San Francisco. No, was going to the States, to the East Coast.
Escape.
And I met up with Greg. Greg and I met up, and I met up with Cindy and his son Colin and my lads, and our two families got together, and we spent some beautiful time in San Francisco. We stayed in the same hotel. We drank cocktails. We chatted to the small hours of the morning.
We did everything you're supposed to do in San Francisco.
We did. Yeah. God, look how much weight I've put on since then. Goodness me. And we went, the very next day after that, we went off to Alcatraz Island, and we went into the hole, and we done the tour. We got some lovely photographs taken. We went out for an evening meal. We had it was a lovely 48 hours of time.
Yes.
We had brunch the next morning, and it was lovely. Greg, it was lovely to meet up with you and your family. You have a beautiful family, and I'm so happy to have been able to do that. And thank you for coming down and spending time with us this year. It was a really great highlight.
We definitely echo that, Robin. It was a fantastic weekend, and we enjoyed the time spent with you and your family. You likewise also have a lovely family. How you were able to talk your wife into marrying you, and you actually produced children that are decent human beings. It's all a mystery to me, quite honestly. But
you see the way all their hair. You see all the way their hairs are all different colors. I mean, what is that?
I'm pretty sure they're not your children. That's what that is.
No, it was good. The trip to Alcatraz was brilliant.
Highlight of the Alcatraz trip was getting into the debate with your son, Charlie.
Oh God! Yes.
For escaping from Alcatraz and whether or not anybody actually ever made it off Alcatraz.
I know someone who escaped from Alcatraz. Sean Connery in The Rock. He escaped. That's real, isn't it? Documentary.
Totally.
Documentary, wasn't it?
That's the best movies ever, by the way.
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah.
Great movie.
Did he escape? He did escape. That's right, he did.
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
But
then they captured him again
back.
and put him in another prison. Yeah.
By the way, if you're listening to this, that does not count. No, nobody has escaped to live and tell the tale.
And just if I can finish off July, I would like to apologize for our Japanese listeners. Sorry, I didn't mean to be odd or funny with Splatoon. Take it in the joyous fun that it was. Just remember that I went through so much worse in San Francisco. And that was July.
Good month. Sound effect, Mark. Sound effect.
Jesus. Train him better.
Yeah, hang on. Right, what do you want? What do you want? A bit more Borderlands.
Light the fuses, bitches! I'm ready to blow! Boom, boom!
That's actually that's a perfect sound effect, Mark, because August is the month where things start to ramp up for holiday gaming. We really start to see the lull of the summer. It gets set aside, and we see some big titles coming out. And so that's what August brought for us. So notable game releases in August, we had Tacoma coming out on the PC and the Xbox One. Lawbreakers, this was the big Cliff Bleszinski, I'm going to make my own game and I'm going to make it better and badder than anything else out there, came out on the PC and the PS4. We had Sonic Mania come out of nowhere and actually be a decent Sonic game. We had Uncharted The Lost Legacy come out, which originally was supposed to just be DLC, but they turned it into an actual release. And that was, again, a little bit of a surprise.
And a cut price release as well. Very good value for money.
Price, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Life is Strange Before the Storm also launches. And then one of my personal highlight games, Madden 18 comes out, and for the first time in the history of the Madden franchise, they have a single-player story, which is actually good. So it was, quite honestly, this was, I think, what you would categorize as the lone highlight for Electronic Arts in the year of 2017, was the release of Madden and the critical positive vibes it got from the media. But yeah, so those are the notable games. Anything you guys want to talk about in particular?
How about the fact?
Sorry.
Yeah. How about the fact that Lawbreakers kind of fell flat?
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't just fall flat. That thing is tanked. It is done. I think they have less than 1,000 players playing on it, and maybe not even that much. It is not looking good, and I think this is. Remember back when Titanfall came out and it had a lot of showings way before its release, and people kind of got a little burnout on Titanfall prior to its release, the original. I think Lawbreakers suffered from that and even more some. And it didn't get helped by the fact that Cliff Bleszinski he's a bit vocal and a bit opinionated.
He's a bit of a dick.
And sometimes a bit of a dick. Yeah.
Have you seen his wife?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
So he came across like his shit didn't stink and his game was going to be the best thing since sliced bread, and I think that really put a lot of people off. I think it is.
I think it's the best Quake multiplayer game we never needed.
Exactly. That's a good point, Robin. It's a very good point. But I think his personality helped sink this game versus helping promote this game.
When I first saw this, I knew straight away it's not for me because it's just too fast for me, too fast-paced. It's for the really young esports generation.
But I was a young lad.
Yeah. Even the esports didn't pick up on it, did they? So
no.
It was just a challenging year because of what was the big one, damn, last year. Overwatch. Overwatch was a monster, and it sort of fell in when Overwatch was at its peak. So it didn't. It maybe stood a bit of a chance. I don't think it was ever gonna really do gangbusters because that sort of game has had its time. Oh yeah. Sonic Mania for me.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Sonic Mania at EGX, not last year, year before. We all queued
Pilch
up.
queued up and never even played it, did he?
We all queued up. For like half an hour, and Pilch Reed got to the top of the queue, and I went, "Okay, you're next." And Pilch goes, "Nah, not gonna play it." Just walked right past. But no, I mean, you know what? I bought Sonic Mania. I bought it for the Switch.
Yeah.
It's Sonic Hedgehog. Rose-tinted glasses, bloody hard, annoying controls as always Sonic was, you're either a Sonic fan or not. And yes, it was nice to play it, but 10 minutes after I started playing it, I'm done with it. So,
Yeah.
nah. If I wanted to punish myself more, I would go out and find a big cock to tackle my leg again. It would be more fun than Sonic Mania.
I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. I haven't finished it, but it's a nice drop. But
Nah,
I
you're
like.
not going to. You're
I liked-
never going to finish that game.
I
You'll
liked it back in the
never
day.
finish it.
I liked it back
So
on
did I.
the Mega Drive. Yeah.
But you never finished it on the Mega Drive, and you're never going to finish it on the Switch.
I finished 1, 2,
Or
3,
the
and
Xbox.
Mega CD version. I finished all of them on the
You
Mega
were
Drive.
high. You were high.
Overachiever.
Yeah.
So did you play Uncharted: The Lost Legacy then, Mark?
No, I got it for Christmas. It's up there on disc. So I haven't played it yet. So that's why it isn't in my top list this year. But I have it. I will be playing it sometime this year. But I've heard really good things about it. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. And it's a cut price game. It's not full price, so that's good.
Yeah, savvy move. They have the engine, they have the graphics. They just chucked a couple of girls into it, and away they went. So they had the base. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
So dismissive. Chucked a couple of girls. They were main characters, Robin, in the other games. Just, they were just out of the blue, like, hey, random girls, you come here. We're making a game. You're in this.
They weren't main characters. One of them was a main character in the game, and one of them was a subsidiary character sort of thing. But it's an action game. I think one of the things the critics would have said is it's a fantastic Uncharted game. It doesn't do anything new, but it's just nice to be in that world with those graphics and that engine and blah blah blah. So.
I mean, I'll say this in its defense. Some people, and not that I have to defend it because I think we've been saying positive things about it, but some people have been saying that they actually liked the characters in this better than Drake because they felt there was a better connection with the characters. So
I like girls better. Like, don't forget, Uncharted was my game of the year last year, so I can't be knocking it that much. So I would enjoy this. So I will pick this up at some stage as well.
Sarah in the chat's played this, and she says she really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to this.
There you go. Sarah,
also, Life is Strange the year before that, highly rated in for my game of the year. Before the Storm, I was excited for. I played the first episode. It's now into episode 3. It's a bit dry or something. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of people say it's not a patch on the first one.
Yeah, maybe it's just it's that suffers from it's more of the same, but slightly different.
Well, in this one, I hope this isn't a spoiler, and forgive me if I'm wrong, Robin, but you don't have powers in this one like in the first one. You could rewind time. You don't have anything like that, do you, in this one?
If I could turn back time. No, I haven't came across that yet. No.
Right.
But it hasn't been shared with me yet. So,
right.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Shared.
Madden 18, Greg.
Yeah, so Madden 18, I was really prepared for this just to be another iteration. Every year they say, oh, we're doing something different, and really it's the same game, slightly better, sometimes slightly worse, or just really kind of a roster update. So that's really what I was expecting. The package came out, and Madden 18 actually has it's a really good, well-told story of a football player's journey into the NFL. And so I was pleasantly surprised by that. It was not at all what I was expecting gameplay wise. It was much more of kind of like a Telltale series kind of game as opposed to a traditional sports game for the single player. Yeah. So it's a lot of quick time events and decision making stuff. And then the game itself, the actual Madden multiplayer side, and I say multiplayer, it's not totally true because you can play it single player as well. You can do your franchises and things like that, offline or online. I played it on the standard Xbox. It was good. I played it on the Xbox One X, and I know the PS4 Pro also got an upgrade patch as well. That game feels and looks like a completely different game than the standard Xbox version. It uses HDR lighting. It's got a rock solid 60 frames per second, and the visual upticks on everything, including the sideline coaches and characters. were on a different level. I mean, it just looked so much better than the original game. I was really impressed, and that's why it made it into my mentionable honorable bits. Really impressed with Madden 18. Not enough to put it in my top 5, but certainly worthy to talk about. And if you like football, you like the Madden series, this is a game you should not be overlooking.
Excellent.
All right. So on from the new releases, we have some news highlights. Of course, Gamescom happens every year in August in Germany. And so that went on. Not a lot got announced at Gamescom.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really was a quiet year for Gamescom. It was more kind of getting the games out in front of people. But nobody really had any big announcements. Other than, I'm going to skip down one, Crackdown 3 got delayed until the spring of 2018. That came just after Gamescom, if I'm not mistaken. It was announced in August, and that was the next big blow to Microsoft's software lineup for this year. Having 2 major AAA franchise games pulled out of their year lineup, it looked bad. There's no way about it. They still had good titles to come out. We talked about this already, so I'm not going to glom on about it.
I am worried about Crackdown because, again, I think that was a certain time and certain place that game was cool. That first of the big open world. Now, what I will think they will do with Crackdown is that
right.
Halo 6. Yeah. Halo 6. I think it's perfect. I heard this before. I thought it was brilliant. Halo 6 will come out with a beta early access for Crackdown 3 that no one else will have, just like they did with the first Crackdown.
Yeah, I think that is a very smart play. Some people criticize them for doing that, but I think ultimately that's how the original Crackdown caught fire. Why not do it again? You got nothing to lose at this point. The International 2017 was the 7th iteration of the International Dota 2 Esports Championship Tournament, hosted by Valve. I'm going to skip through most of the stuff because
I think the highlights in the red, really.
Yeah, the highlight really was it awarded the biggest prize pool in esports history, over $24 million prize pool. So
what are we doing wrong?
Right?
Well, one, we are playing PUBG like there's no tomorrow, and there is no prize pool for PUBG yet.
Yeah.
All right, and then Crew Adventures. So Robin continued on his whorish ways and got out and about and met up with Chris and Camilla Williams from Boss Wave fame. They met up in Belfast, and brilliantly they met up in Belfast for Mexican food.
Isn't it fantastic? They were over for a couple of days. Chris, the gorgeous man, and Camilla, his beautiful wife. We went out. And I picked them up after work. We went out for a bite to eat. We had a lovely few hours. We had a few drinks, took them around, showed them a few sites. I was the tour guide for Belfast for a bit. I think I showed them the Game of Thrones, the sound stage, and different bits and pieces. The Titanic Center. Don't say we don't build things that don't last. And we had a lovely meal out. So it was lovely to grab a couple of hours. I've met so many people from the community this year. It's been great.
Yeah. And then the last little bit from the Crew Adventures, Fraser, he actually grew a proper beard, like a full-on looking scruffy. And, yeah.
He looks evil.
Lumberjack.
He looks evil. Evil beard he has. Evil. He's got to be pointy black. He's like... He's like a Flash Gordon or something like that there, like an evil beard.
Well, see, I mean, again, this goes along with the persona. Robin, you are a very friendly, loving Mexican Irishman, and Fraser is an evil Canadian. There's just no, I mean, their flag is red and white.
Is there such a thing? I'm an evil Canadian. I'm going to kill you. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm going to kill you. I am sorry. I don't really want to do it, but yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't. I can also say I don't think I've ever met a mean Canadian to date. Every person I've met from Canada,
Yep.
very nice.
Yep. Every Canadian I
I-
know is wonderful, especially
Oh,
Sarah.
we love Fraser. Fraser's a real character, and we love Fraser very much. Nice
Yes,
man. Nice
absolutely. Yes. All right, Mark. Sound effect for September, please.
I'm running out here. Hang on. We'll have a bit of
You
metal.
need to have
Metal
a
Gear.
talk with Eric.
Yeah. There you go. Short and sweet.
Hey. Alrighty, we have our notable game releases for September. They are Destiny 2, which is the second best-selling game of the year.
Yeah, it doesn't
No?
surprise me.
I am a
Doesn't
little, but
surprise
anyway. Anyway, and of course we had Cuphead. And last but certainly not least, we had FIFA, NHL, NBA 2K, Project Cars, aka lots of sports.
Mm,
Mhm.
Yep.
yeah.
So,
Well,
Yeah,
Destiny's
I
most of the
can't
big
talk about
games-
Destiny.
Yeah, most of the big games got away from Destiny 2. Destiny 2 announced their date, and everybody said we're going to ship somewhere else.
Yeah.
Either at the end of the month or the sports games. They shipped around the same time, I think, in the beginning of the month because they were sports. It's different. But let's talk about Destiny 2. It was pretty. It
Yep.
promised a lot. It makes my list for disappointment. And that's because I came into Destiny 2 expecting different, expecting that they were going to make some of the corrections that had me not liking Destiny before. And even though I liked what I saw, I just didn't get on with Destiny 2. And so it's not really the game's fault. It's, I kind of bring it back to it's my own personal disappointment. I did not get along with this game. I just never got into it, and that was disappointing to me because I really wanted to like this game. I just don't.
Yeah. I really loved Destiny 1. I played a shit ton of it on PS4, played a lot of it on Xbox One. I put a lot of hours into Destiny 1, and I was a bit dubious about 2, but anyway, I played it, and the gameplay is brilliant, like in the first one, but like you just said, Greg, it's too much like the original Destiny. There's no proper new enemies. There's a few extra little differences, but there's not that much difference really. The story is slightly better, but I wasn't overwhelmed by the story. People kept saying, "Oh yeah, the story's amazing." I wasn't amazed by it. It's a really
It looks
good game.
good.
Yeah,
It looks good.
It is a really good game. The gameplay is top notch. You cannot beat the gunplay in this game. But
I played that level in your house with all the green and the
Yeah.
grass and the rain. It looked like Halo.
yeah, I just want.
you
I
know,
don't know what I wanted from it. I think I wanted different enemies. I wanted a different story arc, and I think the next one will be because there is a sequence at the end of a game on the story campaign which opens up for the next one. So I'm hoping this is going to be a different direction for the game. But yeah, and another thing what's annoyed me is the DLC pack, the leveling up and thing. The first game, it annoyed me for the way you had to grind to get the gear, to get the light level up. Well, this one's exactly the same, but we call it a power level now, but it's the same thing. And I got to a point where I couldn't get any more. And once the DLC hit, it threw all this gear at you. And you instantly leveled up way past, but then there's a new level cap, and you're at the same thing again, grinding away. So, yeah, it's sort of annoyed me a little bit.
I don't know. It seems to be a trend with a lot of these games now.
Yeah.
To a game as a platform to keep people there for a year or 2 years. It's amazing. Destiny itself, was as successful as it was. It was one of those games that everybody complained about it, but those were the same people that were playing it constantly. If you get a chance to read the book or listen to the audio book on Audible called Blood, Sweat and Pixels, there's a fantastic chapter of it all about the development of Destiny and what a mess those developers had to deal with and how to go through it. Very, very interesting. And then when you listen to that, you'll be amazed at how successful it was. It seems a shame because, but there you are. So Destiny 2, it's either
one thing
love it or you don't.
Well, one thing I wanted to talk about Destiny 2 because it's going to transition to a conversation we'll have a little later on in November. Destiny 2, they got caught nerfing experience points. Basically, it came to be that they were on the back end actually limiting how much experience points you were actually earning. So, on screen, it might say you earned 1,000 points, but behind the scenes, they were only crediting you with 500. And they were doing this to try and, in a sense, kind of promote you to, be more inclined to, say, oh, well, maybe I'll spend a couple bucks to buy some extra points to buy some DLC, some skins. And they got caught, and Bungie kind of came forward, was just like, yeah, our bad, we won't do it anymore. And there was little to no reaction over this. I think the outrage was so focused on another company that this just kind of came and went. And probably one of the biggest biggest non-stories that was a story from this past year.
Yeah, to clarify, what happened is once you reach the level cap, every time your XP bar filled, you obviously went up a level, but once you got to the level cap, every time your bar filled, you got a bright engram, which you went to a vendor in the tower, and you get cosmetic stuff, really, like skins, emotes, and stuff like that. But you could also buy bright engrams for all the shaders and the skins and the emotes. So yeah, that's a bit naughty. But
anyway,
because you had to buy silver to buy the engrams with real money.
Right.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about Cuphead, because that's made my list for top 5.
It is a superb game, yeah.
A fantastic platformer that delivered on the promise that they gave us when they first showed us this game. I think 3 years ago. A small indie team. This is the truest sense of an indie game and an indie team delivering, making it kind of big, if you will, in terms of what they did. And I could not be more pleased with how Cuphead turned out. It is not an easy game.
Yeah, sorry. Each frame is individually hand-drawn and hand-painted. It is an absolutely stunning game to look at. But yeah, it's balls hard.
It is difficult, to say the least, but to their credit, they never, ever tried to say anything but this would be a difficult game. They embraced the difficulty. And once you realize kind of how to approach this game, I think it becomes more approachable. Just wow. I mean,
yeah. And one of the beautiful things about this is this was this little dev company's first game. They didn't know how to make a game or how to do this or how to stitch it all together. And Microsoft came in, threw a lot of money at them to help them get this. I think it was. I mean, I've seen this at trade shows now for 3 years, and it was a lot smaller. And I think Microsoft came in and went, "Look, we got to get this packed out more," and that's why it was delayed. And I think it almost became, through its dev cycle, it almost turned into vaporware, where it was never coming. We've seen it every year at EGX or at the trade shows. Everybody raved about it, but it was like, yeah, this is never coming out. This is going to be crap. Right. But you're absolutely right, Greg. It fulfilled every promise. It's not in my top 5, and the only reason it's not there, and I know it would be if I just spent more time with it. Yeah. The soundtrack's beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. Everything about it is classy, but it just doesn't feel right to stick it in my top 5. So yeah, fantastic. And then your NHLs and all that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, moving on.
Sports.
Exactly. Alrighty, our news highlights are Super NES Classic is released.
And they released more than the previous one.
I have one of these.
Yeah.
It was really expensive too. Okay, so I have it. It's beautiful. It's a lovely little SNES. I plugged it in. I played it for 20 minutes in the kitchen, and now it's sitting in the room without any cables, just sitting looking pretty. I should sell it, but I know, it's nice. It works. It's lovely, and people will collect these things. If you have one right now, you could sell it for about 120 quid. It's still hard to get. Funny enough, I paid 200 odd for mine.
But that's another. Robin, I'm going to help you out here, Robin. Next year, You should offer this up as part of a raffle on your Extra Life.
Yeah, it's like the Christmas present that nobody wants.
Yep.
You can wrap it up again, send it on. It's a
you
fantastic
go.
piece of kit. It's lovely. It's very nice. The controllers are like little proper SNES controllers. So, yeah, they are.
All right.
Indeed.
What else, Kim?
Alrighty, for our crew adventures, we had EGX Birmingham, beer and burritos, the MGLX after party dancing, and we also had Rich and Robin visit Mark with a box of tea.
Okay, Mark, you do your bit.
Yeah, so I was supposed to go to EGX with my son, like we did last year, but 2017 hasn't been a pretty good year for me and my family. My wife's been having a lot of illnesses, so she'd been in hospital, so we couldn't go. So I got a nice surprise on the Saturday of EGX weekend because Mr. Richard Webster turned up at my front door with a box of Yorkshire tea bags. And then about half an hour later, Robin Tate turned up at the door with a lovely, massive bunch of flowers for Jenny. And they came to see me because I was going to miss seeing them. So, yeah, we had a good chat. We had a coffee, played a few games, and it was really, really good. It lifted my spirits massively. So, yes, so thank you very much.
Yeah, it was great to go to Shipley in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, so
It was grand,
yeah,
lad.
well, I dropped my son was with me at EGX, and I dropped him off in the very safe hands of Mike Chin.
Your son has never been the same since.
No, he hasn't. And he's damaged. I hired a car and whizzed up the road, and it was lovely to see you, Mark. I'm glad because it was one of those things that if you had been in Ireland and I was in the situation that you were in, you would have
absolutely
not came to see me. You would have went the other way. So yeah, that weekend is one of the highlights of my year. Every year is the EGX exhibition, the gaming show. Used to be in London, now in Birmingham. And on Friday night, so I whizzed back from seeing Mark, and we organized something a bit different. So with a bit of some of the veteran gamers guys and some other the Yap podcast, I organized and booked a burrito bar, funny enough, and we had the top floor of this burrito bar. People brought their switches along. We had margaritas, we had Coronas, we had burritos, and we had great fun that night. And we're going to expand on that this year as well, make it a bit bigger again, because it was so popular, and we had loads of people came to it. There was about, I don't know, there was maybe 15 or 20 people turned up all out of the blue. We just thought it might have been ourselves, and it was a lot more. And then, of course, the Saturday night was the Midlife Gamer after party. We raised lots and lots of money for charity. It's a big sausage fest. Seriously, you've got like 100 guys dancing together on the stage. It's like the what's that? The Blue Parrot, whatever it was.
Blue Oyster Bar.
Blue Oyster Bar. It's like that. I mean, the testosterone was so high. They were at one stage on the dance floor, all these ripped guys doing press ups to music. So every time the song, it was Roxanne was on, Roxanne, and every time Roxanne, you had to do a press up. You don't have to turn on the red light, Roxanne. So Roxanne, it must be said 100 times to that. So there's lots of very tired guys. Anyway, the point of it is, it's a great night with karaoke, great crack. When Mike Chen eventually finishes the video, probably 2 days before this year's EGX, you'll see the fun that we had. So yeah, that was great. So yeah, love EGX. If you ever get a chance, if you're in the UK or if you can get to the UK in September each year, get down. We have so much fun. It's such a fantastic weekend. And that's
I would just like to point out. I want to point out real quickly though. My characterization of Mexican Irish is actually being like come true. Now that we've done this recap, I think it is, it's being affirmed.
Yeah.
It's all when you condense it all together, it's too much. Too many things. Yeah.
All right.
But
Sound effect time.
I like beef jerky.
So this one's a special one because with Robin coming up to see me in that, it was a rare occasion, so he gets a rare achievement sound. So, October. October, the month of Halloween. And the notable game releases for October were Forza Motorsport 7 on the Xbox One exclusively and also PC. Middle-earth Shadow of War. PlayStation exclusive Gran Turismo Sport. South Park The Fractured But Whole. Assassin's Creed Origins. Super Mario Odyssey. And Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus. What a month for games. What a
Holy
month.
crap. What a month.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Well, I've got two. I don't know about you. No, two, one, two. Friggin' hell. I have three games in this list which are on my game of the year.
Yeah,
From October.
I as well. 3 of those games are on my game of the year list. It was a fantastic month for games.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, we were just moving on. Yep. We don't need to talk about anything. Nope. Forza Motorsport
Okay,
7.
well-
Let's talk about that real quick. We love racing games.
Top of the list.
Yeah, superb
Yeah,
game.
well, I
Yeah.
especially love it. So October 17th, turn 10, fires out the finest love letter to speed and style of this generation. You know, it's stunningly beautiful and has, you know, it's lavish in its looks and its races and the options. Just awesome. You know, 700 plus cars, 200 configurations of tracks at 32 locations. I'll say 3 words to use now. Be ready. Maple Valley. Well, that's going to be 4 words. Mugello and Suzuka.
Oh,
all back
Mugello.
again.
What a track.
Yeah. You know, unbelievable. The back, dynamic weather. It is just beautiful to look at. And in 4K with peas and lots of peas and some ham, it just is awesome. In 1080p on an Xbox One X, it looks just out of this world. For Greg, it looks like it's on Mars. It's just beautiful. And even on the standard Xbox, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
On my setup with the big screen, it's gorgeous. On Greg's setup, it's just.
And this was
Yeah,
one of the from E3. This was one of the few games which was play anywhere. So I've got it on PC as well, and it looks stunning on PC as well, but not as stunning as Greg's 4K version.
Yeah, this game, I went back and forth on. Early on, I knew I liked this game. I knew it was probably going to be in my top 5, but it was borderline top 5 for me. And then it got the Xbox One X patch and update for that mode, and I played it on the X, and it catapulted it just another level. And so this game made it into my top 5, and it is a showstopper when you want to show somebody what next gen console gaming looks like. This is a game I would trot out.
Now, I would only say sadly about it is it is a racing game, and it's another iteration of a racing game. Right. And I think it's the best of it on a console. I think Gran Turismo Sport on the PlayStation also looks fantastic, but I think it falls short of the depth of Forza Motorsport 7. I think Gran Turismo Sport looks really good. I've looked lots of the petrol head that I am. I've looked at lots of comparisons, and yes, there are parts of Gran Turismo Sport that looks better, but the depth of Forza is massive.
And Sport is a fantastic game. It does, like you said, Robin. It looks great. It plays great. I think the thing about Sport that to me was the one thing that Sony was trying to take Gran Turismo in a new direction. Kind of getting into a little bit of that online games as a service, if you will, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it works, but they have this quirk with the offline racing can't be saved or something to that effect. I'm trying to remember how it works with Gran Turismo.
Yeah,
but
forget all that.
Something quirky
dynamic weather to end off. The sky, the vistas. Anyway. Enough waxing lyrical. You might tell it. It's definitely in my top 5. The only little thing I would say about Forza 7 is I had so much fun with Forza Motorsport 6 and the community. that still will happen. I just haven't joined the community, and that's my doing. I know the guys are
lots
in
to
that the heart. Yeah, there's a lot still more to play there, and we have to organize, and that's up to us because as a multiplayer community thing, we've had probably as much fun with our mini championships a few years ago than any other thing that we've done. So yeah, Forza, that's a bit. Shadow of War.
Yeah, Shadow of War. I was excited for Shadow of War, and then I didn't really get lukewarm with it. I just decided not to get it at launch, and I think part of it was Mark and I were like, you know what, money's getting tight. We're leading into Christmas. We have other games we're prioritizing.
Yeah. As soon as this goes cheap, when this goes cheap, I definitely want this because I've heard a lot of people say it's really, really good. If you liked the first one, you're gonna love this one, and I did. So
yeah. Then South Park: The Fractured But Whole. I didn't play this. I think Robin, you're the only one that played this.
No. The stick of truth. I haven't played this yet. I played the section of it at EGX where very awkward with my son. So the part of the demo that you play at the trade show is you're in a strip club and you have to pump a guy for information. So your
define
little boy
pump.
Character.
No, don't define.
A lap dance. You have to give this guy a lap dance, and you have to So you have to do the controls to get him excited to a certain level of excitement, and I couldn't manage to get my head around the controls. So my 17-year-old son, who was sitting beside me, helped me with this. That's awkward.
Will.
real.
Yeah, so I helped.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was that.
Did he say, Dad, that's not how you lap dance. You do it like this.
Sorry, I just didn't need to shout out. We have a new listener in the chat from Turkey, and he's having great difficulty understanding all of us, especially me, probably. So I will try and slow down. I do speak very quickly, so I apologize. And welcome, World Rider TR. And I believe you're from Turkey, so welcome to the chat. Welcome.
I believe I remind him of his father.
That's I am your father.
I am your brother, you know.
And I'm Martin's nanny. Yeah. Okay, Gran Turismo was touched on South Park Fractured But Whole. It looks great. It looks fun. It looks like more of the same. But anyway, let's talk about a big one. Assassin's Creed Oranges.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed
Origins. This game is superb. One of the best Assassin's Creed. I don't care what anyone says. I know 2 was a fan favourite for a long time, but this game is amazing. They have taken everything from the franchise and made it even better, in my view. I love this game.
I actually think this is the best Assassin's Creed game that has come out. I think it supersedes 2. It does better than Black Flag. This game really honed in on the good parts of Assassin's Creed, and it cut out some of the things that were annoying and agonizing. Climbing is easy. It never needed to be difficult, and for some reason in every Assassin's Creed game, climbing was always a challenge and difficult. In this game, it is not the case at all. The new upgrade system is fantastic.
Yeah, the RPG elements. Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
So good.
And I like the addition of bow and arrow, the new weapons. There's new weapons in this. So yeah, sorry, Greg.
The combat.
Yeah.
No. Combat is overhauled and for once is enjoyable. The story is good. The voice acting is all top notch. And so a silly thing, but The Witcher 3, they did horse riding where you could have your horse Roach follow the path, and he would stay on the road. It didn't really work all that great all the time. Often it would break, and suddenly you'd have to get yourself back onto the road. In Assassin's Creed Origins, they absolutely nailed this, where the horse will follow the road, and then you can also give it basically the instruction to go to your marker. And what this allows you to do is you can do other things as you're riding the horse. You can, do your bird in the sky and look around looking for other points of interest as you're riding along. You can do your inventory management, or you can just look at the beautiful scenery. This is one of the most beautiful open world games I have seen, and that includes The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous to look at.
And it's also huge as well. It's a massive play area. I've not even unlocked half of it yet.
Yeah.
So.
It is a massive area. And so this actually was my top game for 2017. So
spoilers.
I cannot say enough good things about Assassin's Creed Origins. It really, really took the franchise in the right direction for me. And I hope that they continue on this path. So
okay, all right. For me then, because I'm the one that's been playing this one, is Super Mario Odyssey. Quite definitely in my top 5. Super Mario Odyssey, Switch exclusive. Mario and Cappy. Cappy is the new thing for Mario Odyssey, so you can throw your cap and take over another person. You can take over a character, anything else that sort of
Super
didn't
Mario
wear a hat.
Alien abductor. That's
Yeah, pretty much. Whether it be a frog or even you could take over Bullet Bill, the big bullet, and the big bullet thing that came flying at you. You could take one of those over, and that helped you get across crevices or cracks that you could never have got over before. It is an open world, open-ended exploration game. Of course, you're saving Princess Peach from Bowser. That doesn't change. But the depth, the size, how much this game made me giggle, how beautiful it is. There's a level towards the end of New Donk City, which is sort of a New York. It looks fabulous on the Switch. I played this on the big screen. But it plays equally as well on the handheld, but I think it plays even better with a Pro controller. But there's a level at the end of New Donk City, which is just a homage to the original Donkey Kong with barrels and climbing up. It's just so awesome, so epic. It's made out of love. This is a game that is worth buying a console for, a Switch for. It is just awesome. I love Super Mario Odyssey. I still go back to it. I can go back and play a couple of levels and collect a couple of the Power Moons. Or I can go in and do a dungeon. If you take it like Legend of Zelda, you can do a dungeon. You can skip and play it for a few minutes or for hours. And Super Mario Odyssey has so many different things you can do, so many secrets. It's a beautiful game. It's so well put together. And if you've got a Switch, you got to buy this. This is a must-buy.
I think this game and Zelda would be the equivalent of the two must-buys for the Switch.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Wolfenstein, the new Colossus. This is a strange one with our community.
Well, I don't know if it's a strange one or not. I mean, we love the name. We love to make fun of the name, and so we do the added emphasis of Wolfenstein. But this is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Man, this game, I have gone back and forth on this game. And I think Robin shared a very similar journey on this game.
Yeah, Fraser did as well.
Yeah. Kim, have you played this game? I don't know if you have or not. Okay.
I downloaded the demo, but I haven't fired it up yet to see what it's like. So.
Okay. And Mark?
No, I've got the game thanks to you, but I've not had a chance to play it yet. So I'm looking forward to playing it. I did like the other ones. I'm looking forward to it.
So I'm going to put this out there, Robin. This game is still new enough. I don't want to do spoilers. So I'm going to be very careful.
Have you got to the bit where I was mentioned to you about Flashback Land?
Yes, I've gotten past that.
Did you think that was as epic as I thought that was?
Oh, completely. So what this game does well is the story, the direction, the cutscenes, and this for a Wolfenstein game blew me away. I was not expecting them to take the story in the different directions they did. The character development, the support characters in this game, and I say character development, there is a real story to BJ Blazkowicz. I think really for the first time, there's an actual good fleshed out story. The New Order was not bad. This is a head and shoulders above that. The gameplay in this game, I go back and forth on because it does feel very samey at times to the New Order. It is punishing. It is punishing. It is not an easy game.
Yeah, but it's difficult.
The only thing that is nice is there's some fairly generous save points, so it'll auto save on you, so you're not always going to be penalized. But it's not easy.
So Wolfenstein 2, it's an alternate 1961 where the Nazis won the war, and Wolfenstein 1 came out in 2014. This comes out in October of last year, and you are BJ Blazkowicz floating around in Eva's Hammer, which is a big U-boat, big submarine. And there's lots of bodies, and there's parts of people's bodies flying off everywhere. We've got a really fantastic body in this, Frau Engel, who's a real grilf. It's not a MILF, right. It's older.
She was in the last one, wasn't she?
Yeah. She was and she's really evil, but it's funny. It's funny and humorous, and it sort of takes itself not serious, but seriously. I don't know, it's so odd. The inventions and the gadgets and the equipment are so out there and so wacky, but they take that bit serious, but the whole story seems to be tongue-in-cheek. It's so aware of itself. I would say that the game won't astound everybody, Greg, but it's solid, and it's really fun and frustrating only sometimes.
Right.
But just the story and the back and the depth of BJ's story and his wife or his girlfriend Anna and the twins and all the stuff that goes on there, just awesome. Awesome. It's had me laughing, and it's had me going, wow, so many times. So excellent. Love it.
Yeah. I will say that I think, again, combat frustrations aside, I think the one thing I would have liked to see them do more of is they have an upgrade system in the game for weapons. I didn't feel like it truly was making a huge difference to me doing those upgrades.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I would have liked to do something different with that.
I mean, I've been playing this for so long. I only discovered where the Enigma machine was last night for the first time. And I have all these Enigma cards, and I haven't done anything with them. So it's a fabulous game. I think the story is better than no, that's wrong. The game is good. The shooting is good.
It's a great game. It is a great game. It exceeded my expectations. And this is, a game, again, similar to me with Ghost Recon Wildlands. I came into it with one expectation. I started to play it. My expectations kind of took a little bit of a hit in terms of my impression, and I wavered a little bit on how I was feeling about the game. And then it turned a corner on me, and man, this game just took off. And that's how I feel about Wolfenstein. That's how I felt about Ghost Recon Wildlands as well.
Greg, it's not often that I laugh out loud with chorkles, but last night I chorkled so loud I snorted my whiskey, or maybe it was both, down my nose. When you go to visit another city not long after where you are, and you go in a certain underwater vehicle, and as you go to get into this vehicle, something happens. And it is the most hilarious thing I have ever seen in my puff in a video game. So when you get there, you'll please tell me about it, because it is fucking awesome. So that's Wolfenstein. We love Wolfenstein. The new glasses.
Yes.
What else happened in October, Mark?
IGN acquired Humble Bundle. As a Humble Bundle monthly subscriber, this worries me a little bit. Sorry, the little Mia in the background. Sorry about that. She's just,
it's okay.
She's just been sick, poor little girl. So we're just trying to give her some medicine.
Oh.
Yeah. So
look, I see something today in the news, Mark, that IGN launched the IGN box. Is this something to do with that? This Humble Bundle stuff?
No idea. I just hope they don't change the format of Humble Bundle, because the way it works at the moment is, like, this current month, I already have some of the games on the Xbox, which was Quantum Break, so I didn't want to do this month. So you can put it on hold for a month with no consequences or anything, and you can resume it whenever you want. And next month it's Civ 6 for PC, so I'll probably keep that.
Very good.
So yeah, if they start changing it, it just worries me a little bit. So, but
Well, you always worry about a company that they're looking to monetize their different streams of revenue.
Yeah.
IGN, they've gone into that model already. They've
Yeah.
got their advertising free option, and they talked about Humble Bundle and looking at how they could maybe potentially optimize the monetization of that. That's scary. That's scary to hear.
Yeah. And especially when the great thing about Humble Bundle is the majority of the money goes to charities. You can choose which charity goes to. You can choose how much goes to charities, how much goes to developers. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 12 months.
Okay.
While you do the crew adventures, I need to just sneak off for 2 minutes, if that's all right.
All right, go sneak
Okay.
off. We'll do crew adventures. Kim, this is probably something you should talk about. You got into your new house. Of course, we miss the wood backing that you used to have in the room, and of course, you no longer are killing raccoons. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But you are in your new home.
Indeed.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's been a 2-year. I think it's been 2 years, just about a 2-year journey of getting here, and it's funny because neither I or my father or any of our other family members are contractors or construction people of any type, but we decided, hey, we could save us some money and build it ourselves. And well, as you can see, we we're living in it, so it must have worked out.
Hasn't
Yeah.
fallen down.
Yeah,
so-
I'm not being rained on, or I'm not waking up in the morning with a raccoon sitting on my chest and I'm petting it like a cat, in my sleep. So, it's all good. We're not freezing to death in the winter. I've yet to put my electric blanket on my bed, so that should tell you something. Usually by now I'm freezing to death and I have an electric blanket, but not this year. So,
Oh, it's brilliant because it
Right?
seemed it went on for so long. So I'm happy for you to
Right?
get in there. So.
Yes.
But we will. I keep on having to do it, but I will have some timber behind me at some stage soon. Definitely,
Yes.
that's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that will happen.
yeah,
I suppose the
I
other
will-
thing, the other thing that happened in October then was when I was at EGX up in Birmingham at the Midlife Gamer party, a chap tracked me down called Stuart Cullen, who's a reporter for The Sun in Scotland, the newspaper, and he done a lovely little article for us. He does a lot of video game stuff on a weekly basis in The Sun, and he got us in print, which was nice little highlight for us. Since that happened, we've been just flooded with new subscribers, and the gentleman from Turkey, he must get the Scottish Sun. And maybe
Clearly, that's how you found us. Absolutely.
he was reading it while his fish and chips were on. So so that was Stuart Cullen at Fury AC3. If you want to check him out, he's very active on Twitter, and that was just a nice thing. He talked about our work with Extra Life and mentioned us all out there. So thank you very much, Stuart. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, Mark,
No.
if we could have a sound effect for November.
Right, yep. In memory of Nicole and her computer wars, let's have this.
Fucking Windows 98!
Very good. Yes, the old Windows that died on several occasions. In fact, that should have been a note in some of our crew adventures this year because
Yeah.
there's been many a day that poor old Mark has had problems and Kim has had
suffered from
crashes.
it. Yeah, one episode she couldn't get on at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was bad with microphones dropping or me driving to McDonald's to get onto the podcast. To hijack the Wi-Fi. So in November, the best-selling game of the year came out, which was Call of Duty.
Julie?
Hey, Julie.
Amy Julie.
Call of Julie is a
Who's
X-rated
Ju-
game.
Who's Julie then, Robin?
Call of Duty World War II was the best-selling game of 2017. It came out in November. Man, that's crazy. Doom came out for the Switch, which is interesting for a little small device. And a game that came out with no problems whatsoever or no bad press, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, Greg DeLacy, it's not often that I get up in the morning, okay? And I get up in the morning, and on a weekend, I usually get up about 7 in the morning, and I switch on Glenn's little piano keyboard and put on some little TV in his room and some kiddies' TV, and change his nappy, and come downstairs at 8 o'clock in the morning. The kids downstairs are allowed to get onto their Kindles or their iPads, but they're not allowed into the main kitchen until 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, because Judith and I will have a cup of coffee between 8 and 9, and it's probably the only times of a whole week that we have that hour to ourselves, just quietly, and it's lovely. But this morning, Judith had to go off. She was teaching some people today, some new foster care she was teaching, and I switched on the Xbox, and there, playing Call of Duty World War II was Greg DeLacy. When I had already got up and had my breakfast, which is something I don't see that often. Now, I did invite him into a chat. He said, give me a second. And I sat there for 15 minutes and he never came because he was in playing multiplayer. So why?
The funny story of this is my neighbor is not a huge gamer, but he likes playing Call of Duty. And he and I were talking about Call of Duty World War II earlier on in the year. And he made the comment to me the other day. He's like, hey, man, I haven't seen you playing Call of Duty at all. And I was like, you know what? We'll play this weekend. So Friday night, I reached out to him and I said, hey, if you're going to be on, I'll be playing. He said, I'm going to be on just after 10. So we actually played from about 10 o'clock till about 1 a.m. Playing multiplayer. And, it was fine. It was fun. It's what I remember Call of Duty being. It plays exactly like it used to. I don't find it terribly different than other Call of Duty games. Then maybe that's some foreshadowing for one of my comments and the end of the list thing. But that said, it played really smooth. It was fine. It was fun playing with friends. And so, was playing some Call of Duty World War II.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Great.
Selling game of the year.
What about the campaign? What's the campaign like? Is that good?
So the campaign is a disappointment to me.
Ooh.
I thought it was just okay.
Generic.
I really was wanting, I was really wanting a good, really good, gritty World War II story to suck me in.
Because Advanced Warfare surprised me. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. And this just felt like they kind of played it safe.
Yeah.
And then they did some things that it felt like they were just adding them in to have them and to say that they were diverse and that they had these other. I don't know. It felt a bit.
You were talking about the colored people that were in charge.
Well, they included a female character, which that part actually was pretty good in the game, and actually, quite honestly, the moment when you play the female character in the single player game, spoiler, you play a female character, is probably the best part of the campaign in Call of Duty World War II. It's a beautiful game. The single player is absolutely gorgeous, but I could care less about the story. It was another single player game that let me down.
Did you press X to grieve to mourn? No,
there was no pressing X to grieve to mourn.
Okay, no sense talking about Doom, but Star Wars Battlefront 2, I think, go a minute's worth of chat. You know, what a disaster. Loot boxes. It came out. People were looking forward to Star Wars Battlefront 2. I believe Filthy, he finished the campaign today or yesterday and really enjoyed the campaign, which is one of those Mass Effect type things again. They messed a small little bit up. They'd probably have a pretty good game there, but they messed up the progression and especially the pay-to-win loot crates. Unforgivable. Once again, unforgivable. So I'm sure they won't do that again.
Yeah, and it's funny because we got these stories about they weren't going to let you do customizable hero characters in Call of Duty, in Star Wars Battlefront 2 because it wasn't canon, and so they didn't want to have that. That was kind of what the stories we were hearing, and yet lo and behold, just this past week, guess what? You can now play as Pink Darth Vader if you want. So I just feel like from top to bottom, Star Wars Battlefront 2, they could not get out of their own way, and they messed up time after time after time, and it really cost them. I don't know if the game is good or not. I started to play a little bit of it. I held off because I thought I was going to probably buy the game, and then all the hubbub came out, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to take a pass, and eventually this will come to EA Play.
Yeah, Access, yeah.
And I'll play it on EA Access.
The situation, it was so bad, it hit mainstream news. So already the game is heavily discounted. I think you can buy it for 30 odd quid now, but I'm not going to buy it. It's EA Access at the stage. So that was that. News.
Real quickly, the Loot Crate stuff, it's important to note, not only did it create a big hubbub in mainstream news, but it also got the attention of multiple governments where they actually started looking into it and investigating.
Gambling.
Gambling.
Yeah.
Especially with kids. Yeah.
And so now I believe there are a number of countries, I think the UK might be one of them also, that basically is now telling publishers they have to post the odds, the odds for winning.
The chances you can have,
So it was just a mess. It was a mess.
A mess. And it's a mess, and it's. And then just with the whole thing about Disney.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm still interested in the I'm still interested in the campaign side of it, but like you guys, wait for EA Access. Might as well.
Yeah. I suppose with Disney watching on as well, they're getting bad press out of this too. So, anyway, other things that happened. There was a little console came out in November, okay. The Xbox One X was released in November, and there's a lot of hype beforehand about this is the most powerful console in the world, which it is, and a lot of us even doubted it. Me, Greg, guys that had it on pre-order, we were excited for it, but we weren't overly expecting it to be as good as it has been graphically. It is a big leap forward, but I think the thing about it was that when we got it, it was so easy to set up, it was so simple to transfer everything over. It was like changing from your one Android phone to another or a new iPhone. But graphically, wow, it is a big leap with certain games. Do you need one? No. If you're changing your Xbox, for our community, this is what you would buy. It's a cracker piece of kit. We've talked about it a lot. I don't know if Greg, if you want to add anything to it or not, but I'm very happy with my purchase.
Yeah. Look, I'm thrilled with the purchase of the X. I think it is a fantastic console. I mean, if you have a somewhat decent setup, as in you have a 1080p TV, you have something that can take advantage of what the X does, or 4K TV, mind you, that it makes sense. If you're still playing on a 720, TV, there are people out there that are. I don't think the Xbox One X makes sense at all for you, other than it will play games better, is more smoothly. So there examples of that are Madden. It plays Madden better from just an actual gameplay perspective. It's smoother. PUBG, another example. We can talk about that
very much.
for next month.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Forza 7. games like that, it definitely has improved the performance of that. So, from that standpoint, I also think it's been, a nice little kind of windfall on older games. And it's gotten a lot of support. There are a lot of Xbox One enhanced games, and they're coming. So I'm happy with the mid-gen refreshes. Even the PS4 Pro, while they didn't do as big a step, I hate to say this because a lot of people may not like what I'm going to say, but I like the mid-gen refresh. I like the option of halfway through a generation to be able to bump my hardware up if I want, instead of having to wait 7-8 years, like we did last generation. I think last generation went on too long with the exact same specs. This time, this mid-generation refresh feels good. It feels like you would with a PC, upgrading your graphics card.
I will say that and this is not a slight on Sony, but I think Microsoft handled the marketing and the message for the Xbox One X release much better than Sony did for the PS4, which was muddled and confused about what was going to be optimized or what wasn't going to be optimized, how it was going to work, the lack of Blu-ray player or high def stuff. I think the Xbox One X was very, very well thought out about what was inside that box and the way it was going to be talked about and the language that they used before it came out. So, and where they were saying that this was almost a connoisseur, not a connoisseur is the wrong word, but an enthusiast's Xbox. I think they've even been surprised with the sales numbers already for it. So, and it's great because the S that's out now is smaller, it's quiet, it is high def support as well for movies. So it's cool. Anyway, it's great. And I think if for our community, if you're changing your Xbox, this is where, if you can, this is where I would suggest you go to. EA Arts, they announced that they had acquired Respawn Entertainment. They're the guys that created Titanfall, which to me was a bit odd because they wanted to break away from the horrible Activision and go independent, and now they're back in with EA.
Well, so I believe the scuttlebutt on this is that the deal that EA went into with Respawn, basically EA had kind of first right of refusal. So if anybody approached Respawn giving them an offer to buy them, EA was able to counter. So they could counter if they wanted to buy them. So the belief is somebody did approach Respawn to purchase them, and then EA said, okay, you know what? No, we'll pull the trigger and buy you guys. And oh, by the way, because we're going to buy you, we'll shut down Visceral Games and kill them off so we can pay for Respawn.
Well, I would say that this year, it's not in my game of the year. I left it out, but Titanfall 2 is one of the best games I've played this year. The story, I know it's last year's game, but this year, one of the games I had the most fun with. The single player story was absolutely fantastic in it. Okay. Other things that we got up to in November, very, very, very big and very important month for us every single year, is Extra Life. And this year was absolutely out of this world. This year, the boundaries were broken between PlayStation and Xbox and PC, and we came together with this wonderful, wonderful social device called Discord. And Discord pulled us all together for the first time in ages. It was so easy for us all to communicate during our 24 hours. And do you know what, guys? Do you know what the total that our little group of merry pirates, what we raised in 2017? We raised, at this moment in time, $9,058. That's absolutely friggin' amazing that this little group of guys did that. So Extra Life is a charity that raises money for sick kids, and we do it every year. And wow, congratulations, everybody! That was super. I'm very, very proud to be part of that.
It is absolutely a source of pride.
Greg, wrap us up in December.
Well, once I hear something like this.
PlayStation.
A bit of both.
A bit of both.
Neutral. Neutral bias.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
10 minutes.
December, here we go. PUBG for Xbox One
PUBG for
releases
life.
on Game Preview. And then the PC version gets the official release. So that all happened at the beginning of December. Hello Neighbor, a kind of indie horror game, really is kind of the way I describe it. That came out. Okama HD came out. Doom VFR plus Fallout 4 VFR both came out in December. And then we had Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I only mention that because Steve Conger is a good friend of mine, and he absolutely loves this game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody else cares. But yeah, so those are the big games.
Okay, well let's go bottom up. So you've taken Xenoblade Chronicles.
bloody hell.
It has a certain
I didn't wind up.
Doom Sorry about that. Doom
Sorry.
VFR and Fallout VFR, I believe, are pretty crappy, especially Doom. I believe the frame rate and everything in it's pretty awful. Okami, again, is an old classic game that has been resurrected. And it has a certain following. I'm sure Amras and crew will love it. And Hello Neighbor looks very interesting.
Yeah, I quite like the look of this. It reminds me of. Have you seen that? There's a movie with what's his name? Summit Booth, Shia Booth, LaBooth or whatever.
Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
where he's got a tag on him and he's not allowed out of the house, and he's looking through his binoculars and he sees his neighbour up to no good, and he has to prove that he's doing something bad. So he sneaks in his house. It gives me that sort of vibe. So it looks
So
quite interesting.
Yeah, it's all about sneaking into your neighbor's house and not getting caught. And of course, if you get caught by your neighbor, he's, I guess, a murderer. He kills you. It looks interesting. It's got that Team Fortress 2 kind of cartoony look to it.
Yeah.
There's a few puzzle elements in that. So.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing at it because my nephew, of course you all know Tony, 4 years old, he comes up to me the other day and tells me that he's going to buy Hello Neighbor and play it. And of course I already know what this is, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, you're 4. There is no, of course, I let him watch me play Witcher 3, so what the hell am I talking about? But I'm like, dude, there is no way you're buying Hello Neighbor and playing it. But have you seen it? It looks really good, yada yada yada. And I'm thinking, you're 4. No way.
Oh, future gamer. Future gamer.
Yeah.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
Okay. The biggie. Let's do it.
Yeah. PUBG. So it was already out on PC all year long. This game took off to meteoric levels on PC. It broke the 20 million mark. I want to say back in September, somewhere in there. It just, for all its flaws, it seemed to just keep going. And one of our own, Fraser Moores, he religiously would tout this game as this fantastic game that he loved to watch on Twitch. He wasn't playing it, he was just watching people. And then he finally rebought the game sometime in the September timeframe, I think, and it absolutely took over his life. And from there, I knew it was coming to Xbox, so I purposely was holding off. I didn't have a PC at the time that could run it. I now actually do, but that's beside the point. That's something that's a hint for Adventures in December. But I held off, was like, you know what, I'll play it on the Xbox. I did finally play it on PC. I'm not a keyboard mouse person. I don't get on with keyboard mouse for controls. So I struggled with the PC version when I did play it the one time. I might get on with it more if I gave it more of a shot, but I don't think I will because I've been having a blast with it on Xbox.
I just love the whole story. Brendan Green, he just lived down the road from me. We were having a chat the other day, and he was saying to me, "Potato," and but the interesting part is for me is published by the PUBG Corporation, which is a subsidiary of Bluehole, which is a South Korean company. I just think, where's the story behind all of that? I think it's absolutely fantastic. It is this battle royale from, do you believe the battle royale came out in the year?
I think the Bluehole thing is, Bluehole actually, because I know Brendan Green, who is PlayerUnknown, he was looking for a development studio to back him and take this bigger. So I think that's where the blue hole side of it comes in.
I just think it's brilliant. I think it's cool, you know. So be sort of based around that Battle Royale that came out in 2000. It seems like Battle Royale came out a lot sooner than that. But then again, that's now 18 years ago coming in. And it has now 30 million players in PC and Xbox. It's now past that point. We just wow.
Yeah, I think the thing about this game that sets it apart from the other games, you know, and there's you know, Fortnite, which we didn't talk about. Fortnite probably we should have talked about. That came out in game preview. That's Epic's version of their own game, Fortnite, which was a player versus environment kind of zombie horde game. And then on the heels of PUBG getting all of the accolades, they were able to take their game and they did their own battle royale 1 versus 100.
Yeah, it must have been. Game. That must have been about it. What their version of their battle royale must have been about September, October time.
Yeah.
So it was. Because that's been out for a long time, for 5 or 6 or 7 years. That game has been in development, but they had this offshoot of battle royale for free. It wasn't the whole game. Right. It was just this battle royale section, and my kids play it every day. You know, they love that.
It's gotten 7 million users, I think, or more now. I mean, it's gotten popularity. I tried it. I did not care for Fortnite. I felt the shooting was pretty crap. But there are lots of people that really like it. They swear by it. They like the fact that it's a free-to-play, option. But PUBG, I think what it does so well is okay, so I coined this phrase, and I'm going to say it again: massive tactical loot shooter. That's what this game is. I think Battle Royale diminishes what this game does. This game is about being tactical with your movement, whether you're playing solo, you're playing in squads. It's about looting, but you have to be mindful when you're looting. You can't just loot. You have to eventually make your way into the inner circles. You have to, pick your spots and when you're going to move. You have to listen. Audio in this game is so important. In fact, pro tip to anybody playing PUBG, and I don't know if this applies to Fortnite or not, but if you're going to play PlayerUnknown's Battleground, you must play with a proper set of headphones on. If you are trying to play this through your speakers on your TV, you are going to miss out on so much.
Yeah, sound
you can hear
vital.
Yeah. It's critical because you'll hear cars.
Yeah.
Footsteps.
I think what all we really need to say about PUBG is that it has the magic beans. It has something unique. It has a completely different story every time you play it. Something different happens. Something memorable. Something that we chat about in the WhatsApp chat for days later. For weeks, we talk about the things that have happened before then, and because it gives an opportunity for a unique playing experience shared with 3 other people in a 4-man team. That very, very rarely the games do that, and it has a magic spice which is it's just awesome. It doesn't look that good. It's not that smooth, but just the gameplay with your teammates is just out of this world. Even to the point where if you die within the first minute and you sit and watch your 3 other teammates happily without resentment, you're still part of that game. You'll happily sit there for 20 minutes watching their progress. It is just, I've never ever came across that before. Never before. Yeah.
No, and as Robin, as you pointed out, the game and game preview for the Xbox is still very in rough state. It crashes quite often. It is not the prettiest, especially on the base Xbox version. I do think there's a decided advantage for those playing on the X versus the non-X version of the game, because
definitely pop in. Yeah,
pop in. You can see farther. And also it's just running smoother. It's pretty much running now at 30 frames per second the entire time, whereas the Xbox version, the base version, is still having some dips here and there, which can impact gameplay. And then the PC version, I think, is fairly fleshed out. Mark, you probably the best one to speak to this, but I think it's running stable now.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah, well, it's official release now. It's got the 1.0 official release. It's got the extra map. It's got the vaulting included now. I've played some of the PC version this past week as well, and yeah, it runs really well. It's pretty good now. It's it can only go forward as well, can't it? So, the new
Kim,
map
come and
is
join the
interesting. Yeah, you need to get on my
Join
screen.
the fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll get
All right,
Kim in.
News.
All right,
What
news
happened in
highlights.
December?
Let's wrap this up. So not a lot happened news-wise other than the Game Awards that came out. Game Awards 2017. Really, there's only two titles worth mentioning. The one that won it all, which was Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. But then we also had the Death Stranding trailer that was like a 5-minute just bizarro trailer. It might have even been longer than that. This is the new Kojima game that's coming out God knows when. I watched that trailer and I walked away from that thinking, I don't know what I just watched. I'm kind of intrigued, but I don't know what I'm looking at, so it's hard to get excited for it. Other than it looks really pretty. That's a typical Kojima game.
Yeah.
All right.
Weird.
Crew Adventures. Let's wrap up here. Crew Adventures. Our Richard Webster announced his engagement. So he is officially getting married. So we are excited for him.
Congratulations.
Yes. He and Gilly are going to be fantastic. They're going to be happy together. I went to Disneyland.
Woo-hoo.
That was an exciting trip. There's a nice picture of me and a grizzly bear at a restaurant.
I'm gonna try get
That's
on
me.
screen.
No, that's Mark. Actually, is it not? No.
Yes, that's Mark. Bear love.
Right, it's on screen.
And then my other piece of adventure was that I actually got a new PC, which is a gaming PC, which I'm quite happy with, and it can run things, which is nice.
That's
good.
good.
That's good. That's
Yes.
good. PCs.
Yeah. But ironically, though, I bought a gaming PC and I still have no desire to game on my PC.
Oh.
I work at my desk all day long. That's where my gaming PC is. I want to take a break from that. So
I think that's the thing for me too. I love my time is so limited. I don't want to fiddle. I just want to switch stuff on. That's about it. And I know it's got a lot better, but it's just not for me anymore. So what a year! Seriously,
It was
2017. It was.
tremendous
I mean, when we look back at all those things that we've done, and I know some of it wasn't good. I know, especially for Mark and the troubles that he had.
Yeah.
But between new houses, but meeting so many different people, between engagements, between driving tests being done, and Nicole being in Scotland, for God's sake, there was so much stuff in this year, and our community has been fantastic. The interactions that we've had in our chat and the stuff with the Year of Living Dangerously, there's been so much interaction this year. What a fab community that we have. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh, it has been. So let's wrap this up. Let's run through real fast. We have all of our top games. Do we each want to read them off and just go that route? We'll just go down the order.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. So I'm top of the list, so I'll go first. I'm going to go from 5 to 1, and then I'll bring up my little tidbits and I'll talk about that real fast. I'll keep it very brief though, because I know we're on a time crunch now. Number 5 for me was Forza 7. Number 4 was Cuphead. Number 3 was probably my biggest surprise this year, which was Ghost Recon Wildlands, making it back in favor with me and making it all the way into my top 5. Wolfenstein, the New Order. Sorry, Wolfenstein 2 Colossus. Made number 2 for me. And then Assassin's Creed Origins was my number 1 game. I absolutely love what they did with Assassin's Creed. So that came in at number 1 for me.
I'm surprised PUBG isn't in there for you. Why is PUBG not in there? Is it because it's a pre-release or what?
Yep, exactly. So it's in my worthwhile mentions. PUBG is by far the game I'm playing the most right now, but it is in game preview. I only just started playing it in December, and so I thought, you know what? Because it will release in 2018, it can be part of my 2018. But yeah, PUBG definitely worth mentioning. Madden 18 also part of my mentions as a game that definitely is worth looking at. And XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, which is a big DLC expansion they released. I couldn't put it in my top 5 as a proper game because it is just an expansion. So I just wanted to give it some kudos there. My disappointments really were Call of Duty World War II, Destiny 2, and Mass Effect Andromeda. Not because they are outright bad games, any of them. It's just because they didn't live up to my expectation or desire. And that's me.
Yep, so my number 5 was Destiny 2. As a huge lover of Destiny 1, I was looking forward to this. It did let me down on a few things, but the gameplay was still spot on, so it made my top 5. Number 4 for me was Mass Effect Andromeda. I looked past all the early problems and I didn't really see it as a problem, and I loved that game. I played the hell out of it, completed it, and I'm just pretty gutted actually that they're not going to go any further with it. He's chattering away in the back. Number 3 for me is PUBG, mainly because I've played it on PC as well, and it is officially released on PC, so it does count for me. Put a lot of hours into this, not as much as Fraser and Chinny. I know it's going to be higher up on their list, but yeah, superb game, so much fun. Every game's different. Number 2,
it is.
Yep, number 2 is Assassin's Creed Origins. Now this could have been number 1, but I haven't played enough of it. I haven't finished it. I've put it on the back burner for a reason, and that is so I can have a bit of time off later on in the year and actually savour this game, because this game needs your attention. It's that good. So that makes my number 1 game of this year, Horizon Zero Dawn. Just all round excellent game. Superb graphics, superb sound, brilliant story, voice acting, just absolutely superb. If you've got a PS4, you've got to play Horizon Zero Dawn. My extra little tiny bits: Cuphead, honourable mention; Aero, which I loved; Resident Evil 7, Forza 7, the Hot Wheels expansion for Forza Horizon 3.
Yes.
And I've made a note of XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, even though I've not played it, but I've heard good things about it so far. I'd have that in. That's me.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right, my 5 are The Witcher 3, because, as everybody knows, I've been a little busy this year, so really it was hard to pick a top 5, but you've got The Witcher 3, and that was a game, even though it's, it's older now, it's still a game I can turn on and fall back into and, sit there in front of the TV for hours playing it. Mass Effect Andromeda, that was, like I said before, that was the first Mass Effect game that I actually liked, even though it seemed like no one else liked it. So,
no, you're right, Kim, it's a brilliant game. Ignore all
it really
the
is. I enjoyed it. The romantic options in that game were kind of terrible if you play as the girl, unless you want to go lesbian. And
oh yeah, baby, I loved it.
And let's see, number 3 was Super Lucky's Tale. I just got into here lately, and it's a platformer, and I'm not very good at it, but for a cute little platforming game, it's pretty good. Yeah. Number 2 is Wildlands, kind of like everybody else has said. It is a really nice game. I picked it up because 2 friends of mine were playing it, and we're looking for somebody else to play with. So I thought, all right, why not bite the bullet and get it? And I'm really interested in seeing if I can kill the Predator. So who knows? Maybe I can fire it up before it's over here soon. And of course, my number 1 game is Cuphead. Again, a platformer, and it's hard as hell. As a matter of fact, last night I was playing it for a little while, and I just about beat the first run and gun section. But, sadly, I didn't get it beat. But, I'm working at it. The longer you play it and you die, you eventually figure out, this guy's going to jump out here, this guy's going to jump out here. And, you get it down, eventually it gets a little easier. So, Cuphead, I'm enjoying it. So it's number 1 for me.
Very good. For myself, in my 5th position is Forza 7. Love it, love it, love it. Wolfenstein 2 is in number 4 for me. PUBG is in my top 5. It's at number 3. And then the two biggies, Mass Effect Andromeda is at number 2. I probably spent more at this game than any other game. Maybe Forza might be the exception. But Mass Effect Andromeda, I loved all the romantic options in this game. It was fantastic.
I loved the role in
I was a girl.
the mess about in the airlock with PB.
Oh, yeah. Say no more.
Yeah.
I just love the game. And for me, again, damn it, this another year that an Xbox game has not been my number one. My number one game of this year is Super Mario Odyssey. The game is awesome. You have to play it. It's so much fun. It's just 50 quid's worth of happy. It's just happy. Makes you smile. It's a wonderful game.
I really want to play this game.
And stuff that I want to mention, Cuphead. I didn't play enough of it. Zelda. I will go back to it. The scope of the game is fantastic. I have so many games from 2017 because of YOLG, because of Vlog, that I'm going to have a ball with an 18. So, yeah, that's me. Now, I don't know if you want to do this or not, but what I did is I allocated scores of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to each one of these games. So if you were number 1, I got 5 points, number 2, yeah? And I totted all the scores up. So based on this sort of straw poll, our game of the year with 9 points is Assassin's Creed Origins. And yay! Mass Effect is at number 2, Cuphead, 3, Wildlands 7, Wolfenstein, and PUBG on an equal 4th. 5th is so that makes no sense whatsoever because there's not enough of us. But do you know what? Every single one of those games on that chart and on our top 5 are all fantastic games. We are spoilt rotten with games.
We are.
We really are.
Indeed.
Yeah, well, that's it, folks. That is a wrap. If you've been with us this long, thank you. If you had to tuck away and go to bed, we apologize for going. We're going on 3 hours now, so we're going to wrap up here. If you want to be part of the conversation, look, we broadcast every week on Twitch, twitch.tv/OC podcast, on Mixer, mixer.com/OC podcast. And of course, YouTube, just look up Overseas Connection Podcast on YouTube and you will find our channel there. We are on every Saturday, 3 p.m. on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. And if you are over in the UK, 11 p.m. your time, and 10 p.m. in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Reykjavik.
And of course, did you like that? You can download the podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher. If you are on a place where you can give us a review, please give us a review. It helps us be found by other people. If you are looking for people to play with, especially if maybe you want to play some PUBG, I'm just saying, OC Podcast Club on the Xbox One. We've got a OC Podcast community on the PS4. OC Podcast group on Steam for those on the Steams. And of course, if you are a person that likes Discord because it is handy, we have an OC Podcast server on Discord, discord.ocpod.com. And a Destiny 2 clan, apparently. We're supposed to mention that. We have one of those too if you want to play that game. All right, let's play some music. Let's wrap things up. Mark?
Do you want the Nicole bit, or do you want to just do the outro?
You can do the Nicole bit, and then the outro.
You like us, we like you. See where I'm going with this? Follow us on Twitter @OC_podcast. Check us out on Facebook, fb.ocpod.com, or email us, podcast@ocpod.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And hit it, Mark.
Shot.
Do it. Just do it. Do it.
Shatters.
Oh, yeah, shatters. Mark, give us the shatters.
Okay.
Give us,
I have them here.
Robin, go for it, Robin.
Baron Von Glor, Dale's Just Sports Show, Faye Gwent, Night Raven, Martin, Sarah RCGC. We had a wonderful gentleman in from Turkey. We had loads of people. Do you know what? Thank you very, very much, you guys, for being part of our live show every week. Sarah, Martin, the guys, Baron Von Glower, the people that pop in nearly every week. Thank you very, very much.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you very much for dropping in. You helped an extra bit of spice into the show. So happy New Year to you. Hope you enjoyed our review, and we'll see you around.
Yes,
Mark?
and see you next week.
Play that funky music.
Here we go.
Thank you for listening to the Overseas Connection podcast. See you same time next week.